Beth, you never contribute anything to this board. Megan, you were this close of standing up and doing the right thing, but you were afraid. You're afraid of betraying Catherine, not going with her agenda, pledging your allegiance to her. And Art, you were this close too, but you let Catherine bully you out of your voice, out of you standing up for what you believe in as well. It's a shame. It really is, Art. Okay, so on to business. Number 3, report from the district engineer regarding the Fazone payment to Fazone Construction for the CMU wall repair. I thought an engineer had to look at this, or it has to be certified by an engineer. So we're going to pay the contractor without making sure that it is a safe wall for pedestrians to walk by on that trail. You're willing to pay the engineer to tell you how much gravel you need on walkways, but not to have a wall safe and certified by an engineer? Does that make sense? So you're going to require an engineer certification for future walls and repairs, but you're going to let this one slide because you dropped the ball and you messed up? And now you're just going to be like, it's okay. This time we'll let it pass. But next time we'll get it. That doesn't make sense. Number 5A, amendment to the maintenance cap in Infomark's contract. Anytime there's an amendment to Infomark's contract, I guarantee you we will pay more. And they will do less. This has been going on for years. They pay more, we pay more, they do less. It's proven data, history there. You just don't want to see it. You're blinded to it. They're your buddies. They treat you well. They make you feel fantastic because, oh, Megan, you're so great. Oh, Beth, you're amazing. You're blinded. No more money to Infomark. They have enough. They don't do what they're supposed to be doing. Number 11, future board meetings. Let's bring it up again. Let's change the dates on when we meet. Instead of 2 the third week, let's do 1 on the first week, the second one on the third week. Or 1 on the second week, 1 on the fourth week. Why don't we add 1 on the weekends so other people that are busy, have families, are making dinner, are able to attend? Megan, you want to get people's opinion. You want people to participate. That's an opportunity to have them participate. I think more people would come to the meetings if they had an opportunity to come on a Saturday. You would get the feedback. I thank you for your time. And I pray for all you that you make the changes that are needed. Because this is ongoing, nonstop, all the time. And I don't know how you guys aren't exhausted of all this BS. Change your ways. You're never too old, Beth. Have a great night.
Okay, Jana Norton Ramirez.
Oh, one day I'll get my name right.
Yeah, I know.
Ramirez. Okay. Thank you guys for letting me be here. I just want to let you know that our neighbors were very happy and thankful with the quick pickup of their dead branches and trees they lost during the ice storm. Talk about a community coming together. Neighbors helping neighbors is always nice to see. And thank you for the updates of Astor Pass Pond. It looks so inviting for kids and adults. An area where you can walk into Hatch Pond would be a great addition as well. So it's not so hard to get in there, not so tricky for parents that are going down there for their kids' practices and games. Okay, I would like to continue to sustain Anderson West as a great neighborhood, not only for us, but for our future neighbors. If you check out Buttercup Creek, they used to be in mud. They are no longer and have no deed restriction enforcement at all. Just to check out what that area looks like. I'm going by what my deed states, and I'm hoping my neighbors will too. I'd rather not neighbors to park on the grass, park boats and big trailers on their property, or build a fence in the front yard. In fact, last month, my brand new neighbor was doing just that, and he lives on a corner. If he had have built that, it would have totally blinded anybody coming in or turning left. So I stopped him and I said, hey, you're a new neighbor. Have you read your deed? You can't do that. And he read it with me, and he was very nice. He was thankful, and so yay. I think it'd be great if realtors could be more helpful on this end. I know you guys really can't do that, but it's amazing that people don't understand what a municipality district is or what an ETJ is, that we're not Cedar Park. We're totally different. A quote I once heard was, no matter how educated, talented, rich, or cool you believe you are, how you treat people ultimately tells all. Integrity is everything. Agenda item 9. Linda Fobb, you ran for a board position on the platform that you'd get rid of deed restrictions. You lost your lawsuit against the board that you serve on. Can you pay the over $90,000, please? That you have cost the district, taxpayers, neighbors, please? Because you lost your lawsuit, correct? Or at least tell your friends why the lawsuit was. Why did you do it? Occasionally, Linda makes the board look bad by individually calling out nearly everybody's names or making negative comments about their board and their contractors, and she's on the board. Agenda 11, request for a future agenda. Request for Be the Light Craft Fair to come in January or February to possibly request a venue for the spring event, which will be in April or May. Agenda item 7C, Park Advisory Committee. Thank you for the Parks Committee for letting me be on the advisory committee. I think it would be great to see other advisory committees in the future for other committees, such as security and infrastructure. And I don't know, I can't think of anything else right now, but let's see. I think I got it. Oh, yes. David said that it would be great if we did have meetings on Saturday. I think it would be great if we had a Saturday meeting, because some people can't get out. Or maybe a noon meeting, because, some people work nights. I mean, I usually work nights right now, so I can't get out very much. So anyway, I think that was a great idea, because I've always been good with that. Okay, thanks, you guys. Doing a great job.
Okay, Cindy Glenn. You want to make a public comment and speak to agenda item
Number 9.
9.
Wait, before you start, please excuse me.
Sure.
Catherine, if she's going to speak to number 9 the way Jana did, that's not on Bill Clickinger's to-do list. So she's got to stick with the agenda, just like you had last week. You interrupted David and made him stick to the agenda. So number 9 on my agenda says
Report from the district attorney. Is that what
regarding status of current legal projects.
Is that
what you were speaking to, ma'am?
Yes.
Okay, well, if it's about my lawsuit, that's not on his list. Right, that's not one of his projects. Am I right, Bill?
It's not currently on the list because the lawsuit was dismissed.
There you go. So if that's what you're going to talk about, that would be out of order because it's not on the agenda.
Okay. Then I'll just
You
make...
can do it in a public comment, though.
Yeah.
You can do that.
Okay. Let me know when... Okay. Linda, I want to thank you for not challenging the decision of the Travis County Court, which dismissed your lawsuit with prejudice. Does everybody know what with prejudice means?
Yes.
Good. It means it's frivolous. It
Make your
means
comment. We
I'm making my comment. It means they determined that it was a waste of the court's time. So our court costs for that lawsuit is almost $98,000. $98,000 to defend your frivolous lawsuit. When are you going to reimburse the taxpayers? You're not.
I'm not.
Yeah, we figured that. If anyone is interested in the details of that lawsuit, you can go to WTCMUD1.org, or you can just Google Fabre versus WTCMUD1. Last month, you mentioned that you found less than $2 in savings. And the voice in my head said, what about the $100,000 that you cost the residents for open records requests in 2020, and the $100,000 that you cost us, the taxpayers, for open records requests in 2019? What did that get you?
Fraud. I found
Fraud?
Yeah.
You found fraud? Okay, well, I'd love to hear about that.
You will.
So, you've wasted our tax dollars.
Well, Ms. Lynn, I would like to take an opportunity to.
We're
correct
not,
this
we're
statement.
not, no, we're not, no.
Then put my name
Nope.
on the list. Let me have that.
Between your frivolous lawsuit and your open records requests, you have cost the taxpayers, us, almost $300,000. That's in 3 years. Yes. Let me repeat the facts. You lost your lawsuit with prejudice, and you've wasted our time and money. And what did you gain?
Time, I heard time.
Catherine, I'd like to make a public comment.
If
It's
you're,
not closed, so let me have the list.
Linda, if you're gonna make a public comment, we're gonna have to go into executive session.
What?
Because we're gonna need some advice from our attorney.
I'd like to address Ms. Glenn because she's making false accusations that are not true.
I
And
understand.
I can discuss it as a citizen. It's my lawsuit. I can discuss
Linda,
it.
I totally understand what you're saying, but if you're gonna make a public comment, stand at
Bill,
the podium.
I
We
will
need to
stand
go-
up and podium.
No, I need to shut this part of the meeting down, and we're gonna
I
have to
don't want
go
to
in.
stop the meeting. Bill, I don't want to stop the
We are
meeting.
gonna go, if Linda, if you're gonna insist on making a public comment, we are gonna go into executive session. That's all there is to it.
Bill,
right-
do
right
I have
here
a
now.
right to make a public comment?
We are gonna go into executive session if she wants to make a public comment. Because I need some legal advice that needs to be given to the board as a result of this action.
Just give me a minute to prepare.
That's fine, that's fine. Okay, I guess while we're waiting, why don't we finish with with Gerald then? Gerald, you were gonna make a public comment. Did you have any agenda items that you wish to speak to?
Yeah, now I do. I'd like to speak to, I guess, the park section, the park one. I don't know which one it was.
That's gonna be agenda item 7, so you've got a public comment and then the Parks Department.
Right.
The Parks agenda, okay.
As a young man in my early 30s, I thought about being an Episcopal priest. Following sermon is dedicated to my friend and mentor Jennifer for 40 years. She was a spiritual giant and my mentor and Beth, Episcopal priest in Houston, Texas. She was a priest at St. John's the Divine, and they have inspired and supported my spiritual journey. May the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be pleasing in thy sight, O Lord, my strength and my redeemer. Director Bob, rhetorical question, and it's a rhetorical question for anyone. Have you seen the movie Papillon, starring Steve McQueen? Papillon is a French word for butterfly. In psychological circles, the butterfly symbolically means transformation, like C, big change. Butterfly represents the archetype of transformation, going from an ugly caterpillar to a beautiful flying creature. The movie Papillon is a true story. Papillon was a Frenchman falsely accused of a crime, sent to a French penal colony in the French colony of Guyana to serve a life sentence. He had a large blue tattoo on his chest. It was that of a butterfly, thus his name. Papillon spent his entire prison trying to escape. Once, while he was in solid confinement, he had a vision, not a dream, but a vision. His vision, Papillon was walking on a pristine, white, sandy beach above October blue sky, beautifully dressed in a beret and an ascot looking like the handsome movie star he was and not a prisoner. As Papillon walked over a sandy hill, 3 judges appeared. They were on their thrones, dressed to the hilt in their full regalia, the French Inquisition. The judges proceeded to ask him serious questions. Based on the answers, they said to Papillon, not guilty. And after a very long pause and a faceless expression, Papillon says, yes, no, I am guilty. I am guilty of wasting a life. In the last 4 years, Director Bob, you are guilty of wasting a life. You're wasting the time and money of the people in this residence. Really?
Okay, so now you want to talk to agenda item 7.
Yes, so just to make the record clear, I'm not the president of Awana. So I was at the meeting when they were elected president, and it wasn't me. I was just a member of Awana. There's no president of Awana. I'm not sure who told you that, but there's no president of Awana.
Is that the parks? Are we talking about parks?
She talked about Awana, President Long, when she talked about the park.
You talked about parks.
So I'm on the Parks Advisory Committee. I'm proud to be on the Parks Advisory Committee. And just as a reference, we've spent our whole time talking about surveys, talking about people's opinions and what they want to do and what we like to try to get them to do. We don't have an agenda. We don't have something we certainly plan. I was kind of disappointed that we didn't have an agenda because I'd like to put in my 2 bits. So I just want to set the record straight.
Excuse me, could we get some quiet? I'm having trouble hearing Gerald.
Me too.
So I just like to set the record straight that in my experience with the Park Advisory Committee, we have not talked about our own agenda. We've talked about what was on the survey, how we can meet the needs of the people, and what they would like to do. So, and I'm glad I'm on it, and I think I can make a major contribution because I'm at heart a gardener. That's it.
Okay, thank you. At this time, I'm going to close the public comment section of the meeting, and we are going to go into executive session. Okay,
We're doing on item 1.
right.
Can we read that?
We're going
Okay.
into executive session for public comments.
Yep, we are. The Board of
I don't
Directors
think that's allowed by the
will now go into closed session for consultation with the district attorney pursuant to section 551.071 of the Texas Government Code regarding agenda items 1. All personal items belonging to the public will need.
You have to catch it in the video.
Okay, the Board of Directors has concluded its closed session and is returning to the open meeting. No action was taken during the closed session. And Linda Fobb, you have 2 minutes to make a public comment.
Thank you,
Okay.
Catherine.
Okay, say when, Jimmy.
Go ahead.
I want to make it clear to this board and to the guests in this room that Miss Glenn's comment about my lawsuit was not exactly true. The judge dismissed the case because I have never personally been victimized by the fine scheme put in place by this MUD district, and you have to be a victim before you can take it to court. That's basically the bottom line. So the money that was spent, the almost $100,000, $50,000 of that paid for Amwana's legal fees, the expenses incurred for the defense of the Anderson Mill West Voluntary Neighborhood Association. It was not MUD expense. It was theirs. And prior to this lawsuit, there was $50,000 spent to defend Louis Zervigon for interfering with an election. He was found guilty of that charge. He paid a fine for that charge. And this MUD district spent $50,000 to defend him. So $300,000, actually it's almost $380,000 now, has been spent on open records since 2019 by this MUD district. Not because that's what it costs to release records. That's what it costs to withhold the public's information. If you want to blame that expense on me, you can feel free to do so, but those records revealed what I needed to know to file the lawsuit that I filed. The fact that I couldn't bring it to a court doesn't mean it's over, Catherine. I have a criminal avenue and I have a political avenue, and I intend to use both to right the wrongs of this district. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to set the record straight. And Megan, I would appreciate it if you would put on the website the true breakdown of those expenses, and maybe the contract that Beth and Catherine signed for that legal counsel for Amwana and for the MUD. Thank you.
Okay. I'm going to close the public comment section of the meeting tonight, and we are going to go to agenda item 2, which is a report from the district bookkeeper.
All right. In terms of the financials, I got the wrong one. I'll work off the good copy just in case my original copy is not. All right, so starting on page 5 of the financials, you can see that it's 1 month of data, so it's not going to be terribly instructive at this point. You can't really detect any solid trends, but in terms of that first month, you can see that the revenues were down about $9,000. More than all of that is the $28,000 that the property tax is under. That, looks like a big number, but it doesn't really mean much. This first month, I'm basing it off of last year's collection rate, and last year's collection rate was high in October. If anyone pays in October, that's really a surprise. So the fact that we're under on that, I'm not concerned at this point. If we're behind after December and January, I will definitely be letting you know that is a reason for concern. But in terms of your administrative costs, you can see that you're about $9,500 over budget. The biggest elements of that are engineering and legal. On the engineering, quite a lot of that are the additional expenditures that are a result of the legislature has made some requirements that the district needs to perform in terms of the emergency action plans, and the like, and so that's a contributor there. We're hopeful that will even out as we move through the year. I did want to point out one other change with that line. Previously, we had all of the additional engineering expense as a separate line, engineering special projects, but the decision was made in the budgeting process to go ahead and merge those and have one budget for engineering, the $36,000, and so we're running over that
Already?
At this point. Moving on to page 6, you can see on the operations and maintenance that we're about $15,700 ahead of budget. Part of that is that we have some things budgeted that we haven't started yet, like the idea of having the security patrol services at night, and beginning any of the trail maintenance on the gravel replacement, etc. We have $80,000 budgeted for that, and I've straight lined these items because I'm not sure when they'll occur. So that's saying, that's $6,600 of your $15,700 overage is that one line item. On the system maintenance, you can see you're about $27,600 ahead of budget. Again, those are the kind of items, they happen when they happen. It's very hard to budget, so they're straight lining. As the projects come in, if we do them, we'll see that truing up. You can see that you're ahead of budget on every one of the parks and ponds. Not much activity this month. And then on the capital projects and outlay section, The only activity thus far was the park master plan cost. So bottom line, well, total expenditures were about 57.5 ahead of budget, which puts us overall bottom line for the district about 48.2 ahead of budget. Again, don't draw any conclusions. Don't try to spend that yet. Obviously, as the year progresses, we're going to have things that come up and maintenance and projects as they come online. But the first month, it's in, and that's really all I can say about it. Moving on to page 11 on the tax report, you can see that we collected about half the rate that we did last year. It was 4.46. This year, just slightly more than half, 2.28%. Again, can't draw much of conclusion from that. October is not reflective of how the rest of your collections will go. On page 12, you can see the maintenance cap tracking. We had our first adjustment for $15,028.36. I think that might be the last adjustment, but we're checking to see if there were any other cap expenditures that were still in the pipeline for FY21. And part of the contract on that, the true-up will need to be done by December. And so we're online on that. I think this number is probably where we'll end up, but until I see the final one, I can't say. And if this is the case, the Infomark will be cutting a check for $77,000 back to the district. So page 13, the cash balance, you can see that the district has a little over $2.5 million in funds, 2.3 plus in the operating fund. And page 14, you can see the cash balance trend. The blue line is dropping, which is the operating fund, dropping down close to the red line, the 6-month reserve. We knew that. We expected that. As tax collections begin coming in heavily, particularly in December, we expect to begin bouncing back up based on the budgets that we kind of anticipate moving forward. The district should be moving into a position where it's building its reserve from the 6-month reserve to a 12-month reserve, which is where the board feels that they want to be as the district has gotten older and has more infrastructure that is likely to fail or need to be replaced. So in order to do so, that means running budget surpluses year after year going forward. And again, it'll take several years to get there, but the district is in position to begin making that move. Quasi-related, page 15, the operating fund balance, the forecast for the fiscal year. At this point, we're forecasting a budget balance at the end of the year, a fund balance at the end of the year, at just under $2.4 million. But where we're at right now, based on how the district has done in the first month, we're, based on this reporting, about $2.35 million. Expect to end somewhere in that zone. Again, it's way too early to predict, but the idea that we'll end somewhere between 2.35 and 2.4 million is a very likely estimate of where the district will end up in terms of its operating fund balance or its cash balance, depending on how you want to look at that number. Pages 16 through 23 are that's the payment register, and that shows all of the activity between the meetings from the manager's account, including the customer deposit refunds, and then any auto drafts, utility payments that we make between the meetings, and then all of the checks that are for approval at that meeting. And the checks that are for approval this meeting start on page 19, check 5386, and end on page 23, check 5412. The grand total of expenditures is $358,384.20. And then let me just move on and mention pages 24 and 25 are your transfers. Page 24 is the tax transfer, and you can see that the 51,000 in tax funds that came in. We're distributing them as they need to go. 4,000 of it into the debt service fund to fund up to make your bond payments, and then almost 48,000 going to the operating fund, and that's based off of your tax split, that tax rate that you've adopted this year. And so as you're drawing down, you're in the last 2 years of bond payments, the debt service portion of that's very small. So we only have a little bit of the money that's earmarked for that. We're moving the amount that should be going there, and then the rest of it is the operating fund. And then page 25 is the operating transfer covering the checks that you're approving and the other payments that you're approving this meeting. And then the rest of the report, page 26, continuing to track the open records request. For this fiscal year thus far, we had a little over 2,400 in open records requests. And then page 27 is the quarterly investment report that I had hoped to have last month, but I just couldn't quite get it done. I've included it here. I'd emailed it to the investment team for their review. Just quickly noting, it's a simple report. It outlines all the districts of investments. It's a snapshot by the quarter from last quarter end to the end of this quarter in September 30th. And it would have more in it if the district had more investments out there. But right now, the district's money is only in taxable because we can't get any banks that are willing to, give that under the Public Funds Investment Act that are willing to follow the rules and guidelines of that and then give us a good rate. Even outside of that, I'm not sure that we'd find anyone that would be doing much better. But I will note that the interest rates have begun to creep up in the last few months. We can see that we have moved past the bottom. Questions about how quickly that will accelerate and questions about whether that'll be a good thing or a bad thing for the economy. But that is where we're at, that the investments that you are making at least a little bit more interest on the money that you have there. It's, very small amount, but more is always better than less when it comes to that. All right, so that's all I had to present. Linda, did you have any things that you wanted to address on
I
the
do, they're
payment register?
not very many, but I do have some.
Okay,
And I'll send this to you, so don't try to write it all down. There are 7 work orders from Infomark this month that were charged to the general maintenance and repairs, and they are actually part of the meter replacement program. So those need to be moved and captured with the meter replacement, because that has a not to exceed amount on it. I will send you those work order
okay,
numbers.
I'll take a look at
specifically.
them, because I looked at the work orders, and all the ones that are literally for the meter replacement are
There's a
coded
big
for.
bunch, exactly.
Yeah,
These
there's that
slip through.
huge amount for, 14 pages of them.
I
You're
counted-
talking about some that are before that,
They are before those pages.
that are in the water
but-
maintenance area?
But they are done by the same text. They have an old and a new meter
Okay,
identifier, so I'm sure that's what they are. I was gonna ask though, I counted 147. Mackenzie, is that how many meters have been replaced?
I think our last number was 333 total.
Well, that's not, okay. So
Yeah,
this-
that's not on this
You're
invoice.
not gonna get a full amount on the billing,
Okay.
because this stopped several days back.
Okay, so what I counted on this billing was 147.
Yeah, and that sounds like the number I came up with
Could I
when I.
ask that be invoiced on a separate invoice, just the meter replacements? Because it would be a lot easier to track them.
I don't think our billing system's gonna allow us to do that, but I personally have already set up a thing where I've accumulated all of the money they've spent,
Okay.
so I'm tracking it to make sure.
Well, that way I wouldn't have
They
to
don't
look
go over
through
their
the
budget.
regular ones to find, like for these 7 invoices that are mistakes. Okay, skip that, move on. The general sludge management for the Hatch lift station. The invoice does not identify who requested the service and why.
That invoice would, believe, I will double check, is the invoice that was supposed to be where the Blue Hole invoice came in.
Well, it doesn't, yeah, I do know that one. It doesn't have an attachment with it. I'm gonna
It doesn't
send you-
have any time on it either.
I'm
There's
gonna
no
s-
time on
I'm
it.
gonna send this to you and confirm that for me, please.
Mhm.
And then there's, general operations maintenance, at a park for $180.86, that's covered in the base fee, so that would need to be, credited back. There is investigate a problem at a lift station, but this one's from June 7th. This might be the one you're thinking about, the Blue Hole.
Possibly.
Field notes claim Alterman came out to diagnose the pump start running an auto issue, but there's no Alterman charges
So
on the
they might-
invoice.
be crossed back and forth. Okay, I'll
So
double check it.
That needs to have the Alterman, like I said, this invoice has no Alterman charge.
Well, it's likely that we either didn't get it or it already has been on a work order that had no time.
Okay, so,
Okay, what does that mean?
So we will go months at a time where we don't get an invoice from Ultraman or wastewater transport. They're just companies we have to work with, and they are terrible on their billing side. So if we get to a point on our side where our work is not billed out, we'll bill it out if we don't have the invoice for that yet. But then we'll come back and tie the two together because you can link work orders together.
Okay.
So you'll have two separate work orders
One
that
with
end up,
no time because it's not going to have the guy's time on it. It would only have the invoice on it.
that's kind of how I expected to see it, but it didn't have, like I said, it has nothing on it other than
The
just,
time.
just a note.
Yep.
And then the last one I have is general repair or maintenance of an asset at a park. It's got the wrong description code. The one used is not a billable service, and the real work was clean a trickle channel, which
Right.
is billable, so correct those. I did ask about the total costs collected for the park reservation fees for 3 separate weekend dates, because we paid $1,210.21 to Infomark to come empty trash.
The claim.
And I know we didn't collect that in park fees,
that
so-
was exactly one of the things
We
that,
did discuss it because we were actually talking about how we need to modify the park rules for
Yeah,
it.
that is, we have to figure something out with the
Well,
park.
it's a, it's a catch-22 because, we need to keep our parks clean.
Well, what do we do? Like, I came by this weekend and there was a family over by the play equipment over here, not under the pavilion. But they had set up their little tents and they were having a little barbecue and they were having a wonderful time. I didn't see them end, but if they're not renting but using space over there, what if they leave a mess?
Then our parks tech will clean it up.
Yeah.
Well, I guess the point I'm trying to make is, if we're gonna lease out this space, there has to be at least a break even in the cost to rent
Yeah,
it.
I understand, I totally get it.
That's what we
Yeah.
talked about,
Yeah.
the
So-
possibility of your tech not cleaning up anything other than the pavilion. That way then we'd know because in the park rules it's going to make it to where the clause is if they don't pick up after themselves, they don't get their deposit back. And that's how we were going to have to tie the two together.
And then the deposit would cover the cost
Yes,
of.
because
and
your
if
tech
we-
wouldn't be spending 3 hours
Right.
there. It would be a lot less if
Well,
it was only cleaning the pavilion.
We talked about at another meeting, and I don't know if it was a general or a DRC, but about maybe using neighbors, people in the neighborhood, to come clean. But who is checking to see if the parks even need to be cleaned after an event?
We do it based on reservations. We only send the tech if there's a reservation.
Okay. So every reservation gets a park?
Not every. So if you have 2 in one day, we split in the middle. We have them come clean between the 2, and then they come back the next day before the event on Sunday.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's very.
Because think about it, if you've rented the space, you have an expectation.
That it's going to be
That's
clean.
gonna be clean, of
Yeah,
course.
yeah.
And the person who's leaving it should leave it clean. I mean,
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of the agreement on
That's
the rental.
what the park rules is getting revamped.
Yeah.
That's why we had that deposit. So I already told Herb when he got here early that I did not have an opportunity to look at his invoicing, but he will get the same attention as all other invoices, and I will look at it later, so I have no issues with yours. But I did notice in his financials, if you keep up the $12,000 a month, you are out of money in 3 months on this budget. You are no more paid for you after 3 months.
Okay, so, somebody needs to make a motion. 358, boy, that's a little number.
Well, he has
Oh.
to adjust now.
yeah, that's going to be the question. So we need to check the Infomark invoice which is 11,029.35.
No, I have 11,34700.
Well, what I'm saying is that we're going to hold the whole check.
Oh, I thought you were saying the invoice number. I gave you the
Yeah.
invoice number. Yeah, they're gonna
Yeah,
have to.
invoice number 11,34700, yeah. So that would bring the total down to 347, 350, 354.85. And I did want to, before we voted on this, mention, I'd sent out the email about Beth's fees of office, and so I wanted to know if the board was going to want us to go ahead and cut the check for that
Yeah,
as a manager's check, after the meeting. It'll show up on your next financials, but you've all seen you've seen the request.
Right.
So,
Okay, so Bill, do we need to do something special for that? Do you want us to make a separate?
So, really, you're probably gonna have three motions tonight. One would be to pay the check register as modified.
right.
Second would be the quarterly investment report if the investment committee is ready to make a recommendation. And then the third would be to vote specifically on Beth's submission.
Okay. Okay, so let's do that. So we've got a new number. Somebody want to make a motion?
I motion to approve the adjusted number of $347,354.85.
That's right.
Okay.
Need a second.
I'll second that. Okay, so do we have any discussion? All those in favor? Say yes. Okay. Okay, so I make a motion that, that Infomark cut a manager's check to cover, Beth's per diems for, what are they, September and October?
Yes, that's correct.
Are they really September?
Yep, they went backwards a month.
Yeah, she hadn't reported, last month.
Okay, okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm getting confused. Doesn't matter that we
We
split.
started a new
Yeah.
FY.
Yeah, it
They're
doesn't matter.
going back to
Yeah.
September to last FY and
Yeah.
adding that into
Yeah.
22.
Okay,
If she
so,
reported them last month, she would have gotten the same thing.
yeah,
So,
okay.
But
So-
out of a different budget.
no, it would have been the same because last month, the meeting was in October, so we were already in the new fiscal
Oh.
year.
Yeah, yeah.
So we're not going back any farther than any of the
Yeah,
other
because
board
she
members
had,
did.
because we had
Gotcha,
to,
I
we had to
understand.
get everything paid, for payroll. Payroll's the only thing that we don't let cross fiscal year, right? Am I saying that right?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's in this, yeah, it's hard to explain. It's like it's on cash. It's really like the way the IRS treats it. The date that you get the payment in that calendar year decides what year, tax year it goes into.
Right.
And so that's what we do with the payroll here, with the fees of office. We use the same rule to be consistent, that it's when you get paid for the fee of office,
Right.
which fiscal year it goes in.
Right, okay. So I make a motion to authorize Infomark to cut a manager's check for Beth's fees of office for September and October. Can I have a second? Okay, so do we have any discussion?
I just would like to know, Beth, did you get an iPad too? Are you having trouble with that form on that iPad? Because you always handwrite it.
We do. I don't have a printer. So
You can send it by email.
it's easier for me that way.
Yeah. Okay, all those in favor, say aye. Okay, okay, so then and then what is it, what page was the quarterly submission? Was that 727? No, the quarterly
Yeah,
investment.
Yeah, quarterly investment report on page 27.
Yeah.
For the quarter that ended September 30th.
Okay. Okay, I need somebody to make a motion about this.
I make a motion that we accept Michael Luck's quarterly investment report as printed on page 27 of his bookkeeper's report.
Okay, can I have a second? Okay, do we have any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 I would like to make a motion, please.
Sure.
You got your three done?
Oh, yeah.
I make a motion that we move to discontinue the monthly Zoom subscription and start using Google Meet, which is included in the subscription of the Google Suite.
Do we still have, okay, I'll second that. Do we still have
We
a Zoom
We used it the
subscription?
other day for our bills and invoices meeting.
No, okay. Yeah, but we also have.
You also have Meet, you've met with me on Meet.
Yeah,
so-
we've also done Meet,
Yeah,
yeah.
we
They look
can
the
by all
same.
means cancel it. That's totally
Okay.
fine.
Okay, see, I thought that we were still sort of like using somebody else's.
No,
Okay,
we had to
So
stop
you're on
doing
your
that
own.
because me and Christy were running into two different meetings where I would have it and then she would come in and it would kick me off.
okay. So
And
how
it
much
happened
is
like
that?
3 times. It's $15 or $16 a month.
Oh,
No, it's 18 because they add
Well,
15%.
The actual subscription is 15, I believe.
okay, okay, so I seconded that. So has everybody else, has everybody had an opportunity to use Meet?
I have.
Okay.
You have not?
Didn't we use Meet when we talked? Didn't we use
Oh,
Meet?
that's right, you and I did.
Yeah, we used Meet when we were,
I
okay.
take that back, I have.
Yeah,
It looks just like Zoom. It looks just like Zoom.
It was pretty friendly.
yeah, okay. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Okay, so, let's see. I guess, agenda item 3, Herb, you're up.
The only items under the engineering report for discussion are noted in the packet. The first item is the infrastructure request to the board to consider approval of the invoice for zone construction for the CMU wall repair. This is at the Hatch Pond. This, the invoice, Infomark's still holding a check on that. I don't know how far you want to go with it.
Okay, now I signed a check on Mondays. Was that the check that we're talking about?
No, that was
This is-
discount considered.
That was the discount.
Yeah, this is the check that was on the register last month. Check 5368 in the amount of $9,500, and the board determined that they weren't ready to pay it, and then we should hold it. So I've got
That's
it right
the
here.
Fazone check, right?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, Herb, I'd like to know how you came to the conclusion that not following through with the structural engineer's review was in the best interest of the district.
Okay, I didn't come to a conclusion. The committee, we met and went through everything. The Fazone was unable to acquire a structural engineer to come out and inspect something that's already covered up. That was his main problem on that. The second issue was from the original scope, as well as other projects that they've done out here. That hasn't been a requirement within his scope. It was something that was noted and discussed. We also discussed the change of scope that actually happened in the field and the line of communications that needs to be happening in the future, which is one the contractor would ensure they get a hold of Infomark, who would then talk with the committee, and/or if something needs to go back to the board, that decision can be made at that level.
So is it true then that Fazone changed the scope of their proposal without anyone's approval at all? They made that decision solely on their own?
I had no communication with Fazone during any of this project.
Okay, well, that's what McKinsey told me. McKinsey, is that still true today?
Yes.
Nobody approved their change of scope. Wow. Okay, so, how often do subcontractors change the scope of their proposals without any approvals? That, I have never heard of that happening ever.
I would have to say that this is probably the first time that we've ever encountered this.
That we know of.
That I'm aware of, yeah.
Okay.
Well,
So-
Fazone does a lot of work for us.
Yeah,
And they made an assumption, a bad assumption,
yep.
that they could change the scope of the work and offset the cost, or in other words, there will be no additional cost for it. In the future, they cannot do that. They have to contact the board has to approve any change in scope, and.
As most projects work that way. I mean, that's how most.
Yeah,
But
and I don't think there was any ill intent on Fazone.
No, and
Well, it's not
And-
about
but-
ill intent. I agree with you.
But it happened, so that's just kind of where it
Okay.
ended up.
yeah.
Now, they're gonna give us a warranty, right?
The work's warranty for a year.
And they do put the footer, the stem footers alongside that other
piers.
portion of the wall, right?
What was the question?
The little,
I know what you're talking about, but what was the first part of your question? I didn't.
Stem footers
The-
Is
or,
that included in that? Yes.
right,
If
okay.
there's any issue with that wall segment, Fazone Construction will take care of that wall segment over the next year.
Over the next year, but the problem is that footer took, how old is that fence? How long has that CMU wall been standing?
It's been a while.
It
I haven't
took-
gone back and looked.
I looked at Google Earth, it's been standing for quite some time, and it took this long for that footer to fail. It took this long for that footer to roll, and it's rolled about 2 inches. So here's what I would like to suggest. McKinsey promised us that she was going to work with you to hire a structural engineer. When I saw this on the agenda, and realizing there was no structural engineer involved, I contacted a structural engineer, and I asked him to submit a proposal, which I received late this evening. And I think that in the best interest of this district, to ensure that that engineered solution, that a contractor without any engineering degree applied to that wall is in fact sound and safe and done properly according to the construction standards that apply to the wall. I
Did he
suggest-
go and observe the wall?
Yes.
And
Oh,
he
this
said-
guy? No,
yeah.
no. I sent him pictures and told him what we would need him to do without disturbing what is there. And he sent a very detailed proposal about what this company would be willing to do using information from the zone directly, the photos that were taken by the resident who watched the construction and photographed every single day, and let these people objectively take a look at the work and say either, yes, it's good, you should accept it, or you have nothing but a problem on your hands, you need to address it. It is a public works project. We spent the check is $9,500. This proposal was $3,100 to certify that wall, certify the wall is done correctly.
So what does that mean, though?
I'll send you the proposal, you can read all the details.
No, what does that
That
mean?
means a structural engineer is going to look at the photographs and do measurements and determine if those piers were built to withstand the wind force on that wall, which is what made it.
How can he
probably-
tell?
It's an engineering calculation, I'm not a structural engineer. They took the challenge, and they would become liable and responsible if anything ever happened after that. They're certifying the wall. Not for a year, but for as long as that wall stands.
Okay, so
And I think that is the right thing to do for the people.
what
in this
happens if he
district.
goes out there and he says, I can't certify the wall because
Because
it's already been built?
No, he wouldn't do that. He's already agreed. He can with the information. We've collected a lot of information. He says he can with the information collected.
Send it to us, we'll review it.
And if he comes back and says, my professional engineering judgment is that this was done wrong, this does not meet standard, concrete mixed on site, threaded rod versus rebar, and all those other magic terms, if he comes back and says that, then you know you should not pay for this service. If he comes back and says, it's not perfect, but it will stand a wind shear force of X, you make a decision whether you want to accept it or not.
Okay, so just so I'm clear,
So the committee didn't do this, she did it.
Yeah.
There's no obstacles there, right?
no, well.
Well, it doesn't matter who does it. You didn't act.
No.
I'm not a structural engineer.
Neither of you responded to my email, and I alerted
No,
on
but I talked to
day
her.
one. Well, you see, I asked Mackenzie. She said nobody responded to my alert email on day one of the project.
No, what I'm trying to understand is, are you saying let's not pay for zone, let's wait another month and do this?
Yes, because
thing?
once you pay the zone, you accept it the way it is. You accept the work when you pay that check. And I'm telling you right now, I am not a structural engineer. Never have been one. But the two people who watched that construction happen are experts in that industry. They have as much experience as Herb does. We trust Herb, and he's not an engineer. So why don't we trust our resident neighbor who was looking at this project and photographing every single day?
Well, the
every day.
question I'm trying to understand in my head is.
I need to talk to this guy too.
What-
Give me
what
his
is-
number.
I will, I'll send you the proposal.
But what is Fazone gonna say if, this guy comes back and says, you did a bad job?
We're gonna tell the zone, you need to rebuild that wall according to that proposal. That's what happens if he comes back and says, it was not done to industry standard. Am I right, Herb?
It would be a position of the board to be able to do that. I don't know what Fazone's position would be on that.
Well, they would have little defense, given the fact that they went ahead and altered their proposal, installed
In the field.
in the field, installed an engineering solution without an engineer. I think
Yeah.
he wouldn't have much of a leg to stand on.
Well, it'll end up being deferred to Bill's office is where it'll end up. I mean, I would be reluctant to get in the middle of that argument because we haven't been involved in this.
Well, see, that's why I don't understand why your firm would send a letter that recommends we make payment on this thing. Now you're attached. Now your engineering firm is attached to this project because you put it on the letterhead that we should accept it as is.
The note, just for clarification, the agenda item here says infrastructure to request board consider approval of the invoice from Zone Construction for the CMU wall repair.
So you're telling me this
So,
man and this
based
woman
on-
made that decision?
Based on our committee meeting and review of what we could review and discuss, that was the determination within the infrastructure committee.
Okay, and he admits he's not a structural engineer, and unless you have a secret past
No,
on
I have lots of secret pastimes, but that's not it.
that's not one, and mine
Yeah.
either. And I don't want to make an assumption here, and it is too important, and it's a lot of money. And I think doing the right thing by these people, but for the residents that elected us, is make sure we get what we pay for. And had he come to the board, or you weren't involved, or McKinsey, or anybody, and said, I'm gonna change up, I submitted a proposal that said I was gonna do this, but I'm not gonna do this now, I'm gonna do this, okay?
Well, that I agree with. He should have.
And since he didn't do that, and he went down a path that he's not qualified to go down because he's not a registered engineer, I only feel good about having it checked. And I don't think $3,100 is unreasonable. We've spent way more than that in a park plan, in
Yeah,
doing that strip to the coast. I
I'm
mean,
not gonna argue about,
look at the proposal and see if you think it's fair work.
no, I'm okay with going down that path. The question I have though is, does that still mean that we have to,
Not paying?
not pay him?
Yes.
That's the question.
Yes.
It does.
Once you pay him, you accept the work, and then it would be
It does.
pointless to have
Unfortunately,
somebody
it
look
does.
at it. Because once you pay him, even if this engineer comes out and says, "Oh, lady, you got so taken," it's too late.
There's
It'd
no
be too
hammer
late.
left is what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay, okay.
Am I right, Bill?
So,
Once you pay him, you accept the work.
Yes, I agree with you, Linda.
okay, so,
So let me make a motion. I
Okay.
move that we consult with TSEN Engineering for a certification that the wall on Yegua Creek and Mulberry Way is structurally sound and constructed to standards with a not-to-exceed amount of $3,100 for their engineering services.
Add to that in the future, we will.
Oh, that's the next item.
Oh, okay. I second.
okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so do we have any other discussion? Okay, so, all those in favor? Say aye. Okay. Okay, keep
Thank
going.
you,
Yeah,
Catherine,
keep going.
Herb, or
So the next item on here was just, it's a recommendation to the board for considering requiring an engineer's concurrence letter for any future CMU wall repairs. In the discussion, and I didn't put it in here, but it was specifically related to the footing.
yes.
The wall repairs are pretty standard wall repairs, if that's all you're doing. If you're dealing with the footing, it's a little, it gets to where we would, if we were involved, that's where we would go.
And I just made a note, only as necessary when the structure has been compromised.
Right.
Because if someone knocks a block off the top, you don't need an engineer for that.
Correct. And honestly, if you just go in there and somebody hits a column, but the footing's okay, but you've broken the
Yeah.
column a couple, you don't need.
You don't, exactly. And you know what,
Historically,
Catherine,
you
I
don't
would
need
like to
that.
suggest that in the future, when there's something with the walls, that at least let him, I sent the photo to him, I made an assumption that he was involved the whole way.
Oh, okay.
And so, if we're gonna use Herb, or in his company, or the one he works for, it's more important to me that Herb look at the construction of a CMU wall than to have Herb involved in gravel, or granite, or whatever, the decomposed stuff. If we only have so much money for Herb, Herb's time is better spent on those very important engineering things.
Okay.
Thank you.
Go.
All right.
I don't know that you need any action on that, it can almost just be a directive, couldn't it?
We'll remember, we're not gonna do any more wall repairs, are we? I'm
Okay.
never gonna send you another picture again, ever.
Okay, so what
Ever.
we're gonna do, so what's gonna happen is that, the Fazone check is gonna be held one more month? Is that the plan? Oh, did,
I'll send you these proposals
right, did he have a timeline?
right away.
Okay, okay.
So well, it gets kind of complicated. I was gonna say, we could make a motion that if everything checks, you could release the check, but I don't know, is that
Let's wait,
too complicated?
let's wait.
Too
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm not gonna agree.
Okay, so, keep going.
So that's the only thing specifically on my list. If you've got anything else under the next item,
Nope, keep going.
That's all he has.
then I'm done.
Okay,
You
you're
wanna go
done,
home?
okay.
Herb, you wanna go home?
Herb, you have no agenda. You really didn't have an agenda. Can I ask you about the signs, the
Yes.
flashing speed sign?
Yes, everything is submitted,
Yep.
including comments. We paid the fee. We went ahead and paid the fees. They were minimal to get the permitting process. So the only thing we're waiting on now is Travis County to issue the actual permit so we can do the work. To the end of this week, we should have proposals to bring next month for somebody to actually put them in. So next month, we anticipate being able to get this thing done, assuming Travis County pushes the button and assigns a permit.
They just didn't tell you no, right? They did not tell you no?
No, we actually went over the reviewer's head once to get to the stage where we could at least pay the fee.
Do we know where we're putting them?
Yes, got all 3 locations identified.
Where are they? Can you tell me?
There is 2 of them are on Old Mill, one just as you get into Travis County, the others on the right-hand side, the others up Old Mill before you get to, right at that last curve going into Anderson Mill.
Oh, yeah, where
There's
it's
a
a,
sign there on the left that needs to be done. And then the other one is in front of the Castlewood Pond.
On Anderson Mill?
No, on the Stabia.
I thought they were going on Anderson Mill Road.
No, Anderson Mill Road is a county road. That is not a.
no, well, you're thinking Old Mill.
No, I'm thinking about the one that has the speed limit of 45, and Arts subdivision is on the other side of that.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
That
That's
one-
Anderson. That is
That's
Anderson
Anderson
Mill,
Mill.
yeah.
That is not a district road.
Yeah.
I thought that's where one of them at least was destined for their, okay.
That would be a good place to
Herb,
put
can I
them.
ask a question?
If we did, there'd be more lights on it.
Did you get the impression the permit was
Dark.
sufficient and we wouldn't need the license?
Yes, the impression we got is the permit is all that's needed to put these in. So, they haven't said,
Let's confer when we get the permit.
okay, because I haven't gotten anything else outside of that. So,
Okay, well, thank you, Herb. Okay, number 4.
very welcome.
A report from the Infrastructure Committee. I don't have any, we didn't have anything else to add, did we, Art?
I do not.
Okay. So managers report, agenda number 5. Mackenzie, you're up.
All right, I'm not gonna go through the executive summary as you want me to just hit my topics. We do have an amendment to the maintenance cap, however, I needed to update the actual form I submitted, the date is wrong at the top. Thankfully, Allison let me know that I've the wrong date in. If it is approved tonight, I can submit a new form, it's just the date at the top that needs to be
Okay.
updated. And then that is just for your annual CPI increase that we do every year.
Oh, okay.
That's all it is, and to update the maintenance cap number, which you've already approved in your budget.
Where, did I get a short one? Because I don't have any water information in here.
Yep.
Is this report extra short this month?
It is,
Yes.
but I think it's because I did it and Lee did it. So I'm not the expert on them, and I can pull it up for you.
No, that's okay. It's a learning curve. No,
Sorry.
I don't need to see it.
I was like, wait,
I don't need
what? Sorry, yes, that would be my fault.
Okay.
However, it's the annual CPI increase, I don't know why the attachment's not in here, because I did add it, but,
So I can't find that page in here where the CPI and the maintenance
I
cap.
can tell you the numbers, that way you have them on hand. It's your cap numbers you've already approved in your budget, so that would be the same. And then the other numbers is, let me tell you real quick.
Well, while you're looking that up, Michael, please help me understand. Thank you very much.
Sure. It's on that page, and if you have that copy in yours.
Oh, you know what? I do. I apologize. It's right here. See, Allison took the trouble of making me this paper copy, and I never opened it. Michael,
Yes,
the maintenance cap.
right.
the purpose of a maintenance cap is to ensure that you don't run out of money and that you have a cash flow, is that correct?
Well,
From the
it's to
district's
even out,
perspective, it's the
it's
cash
to
flow.
even out cash flow.
Because that's real important when you're living payday to payday.
Yeah.
But we have enough money where there's really no need for us to have a cap account, any cap accounts. And I'm gonna tell you, it makes it really, really difficult to, it's like the shell game, you know? It's hard to follow the cups when there's so many different ways to parse it out. So I would like to suggest that we try the next year without a cap account.
Well, I'll tell you, Linda, when I started, there wasn't one, and it was something a couple of years into that we implemented,
Well,
and,
it was initiated when we changed the way the contract is written.
right.
So you had a base and
And-
we had a cap and.
Right, and I must admit, I want to say in the first couple of years, I think there was way more activity running through.
Yeah, I mean, that's a point that I just think needs to be expressed. This year was very different than most years. In most years, Infomark usually exceeded the cap or was very close to it. This year it was way under, so it really, I mean,
This year, it shows like it would be a perfect time to break free of that cap.
yeah,
And
I
let
mean,
me
the
just say
paradigm
this.
made a lot more sense if that amount of work was being done every year, as it was. This year really makes that paradigm look, you know, a
Why do
little,
we need it?
you know,
And here's the thing.
unnecessary. Now-
Infomark gets to hold our money and use our money until we do. Well, I know you don't care, but it matters. It matters when it's public money. You wouldn't do it with your personal account.
Well, it's like escrows. That's how I look at it.
No, I don't
yeah.
have an escrow, so I don't do that.
I do.
don't let
I have
I don't let
escrows. I
people
love my escrows.
I don't let people hold my money. So my point is this. This is the point I'd like to make. I would like to make a motion that we move away from cap accounts for the coming year. And let's see if the bookkeeping isn't much easier to keep reconciled without.
Are you talking about calendar year? Starting in the calendar?
She's talking about this, right?
Yeah,
Fiscal
yeah,
year,
yeah,
right now.
That's what I thought.
The only comment I'd make about that is that this budget that you've approved and are working in is built under that.
True that, but you know what?
And
We
so,
can change
I
the
mean, it
budget
would-
all the time. We can
That-
change
well,
the budget.
Yeah, and that's absolutely true. So
That
you
was
know,
gonna
I
be
have
my-
no objection, I'm just pointing that out,
Yeah.
that you would, if
Well,
you were going to make a change like that, you
We,
would need to.
we talked about it when we were doing the budgeting and we were
Yes.
looking at that. I just really truly believe, and you know, I dig into these books.
Yeah.
It would just, not just for me, but for everybody who looks at the books, would have a much easier time if you didn't have to follow that bouncing ball and figure out, did he get it against the cap? And then, here's the worst part, when there's errors, I have to go back 2 months later to make sure he's subtracted it from the correct cap account and did it. It's a nightmare. It is a bookkeeping nightmare. And so I'm thinking we have plenty of cash flow. There is no
Oh,
need.
I totally agree.
But wouldn't it disappear? It wouldn't be a thing?
No, it's the same money. It's
Yeah.
just we hold our own money, Infomark
So,
doesn't
yeah,
hold it for us.
Yeah, the idea in the past was that there would be big projects, and so, like, in June suddenly, you'd have $150,000
When they were doing the ponds and
invoice or
stuff, it
something
made
Yes.
sense.
From
Yes.
Infomark, and so the district, you know, the board at that
Sure.
time was like, we weren't anticipating that.
We're very
The
fortunate that we
idea-
have
yeah,
a,
the idea of the cap was, okay, we built it into the budget, and so basically the budget that you guys built had a series of cap accounts. All we've done is take that number and then divide it by 12 and say, okay, everything that the board allocated to cap, the board, instead of paying as it comes, will pay, you know, prorated. And then we'll true up at the end of the year.
Right.
And the true ups were usually pretty close. This past year, it was nowhere.
it was a
Yeah.
different year.
Yeah.
But like with the 7 work orders for the meter replacements, they were charged to a cap account. So now
Okay.
all that has to be backed down so that they get charged to the actual not to
Oh.
exceed amount
Okay.
that we set aside for. And this is for the meter replacement people from Houston. We have a 25,000 cap
Right,
on
not to exceed, yeah.
So, you know, I'm just
So it
saying.
was charged to a cap as opposed to a project.
Yes, well, it actually, yes. My point is this. I think this is a perfect opportunity because we have a very solid budget.
Yeah, I
And we
agree.
know we're not gonna hit the big numbers in the legal fees because I didn't appeal. So we know that. So this is a perfect opportunity to see if we can live within our means and not let Infomark hold our money?
Well, to me, it's still, it's just an accounting vehicle. And it's if we do everything right, it's not gonna make any difference on September 30th, 2022.
In the
Yeah.
end,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
money is the same.
Yes, exactly.
It is the purpose of managing that money.
Mhm.
It makes it easier for that.
Okay.
So I would like to make a
I'm trying to understand
motion.
how it makes it easier, because you eliminate a bucket, so is that what
You
you're
Well,
saying?
no,
eliminate-
it's another level of accounting.
Yeah, and one of the things is that because of the way that the cap works, the cap invoices come on a separate Infomark invoice
Right.
that you do not, pay each month. And so, and I have to every month remember to include it in the invoices I send you because it's not on the payment register. And I have to add it to this one this month as well because I forgot again. Not trying to hide it, just tend to forget about
Exactly.
it because it's not on the list.
Right.
See, it just
But-
makes accounting easier.
And it was a small number this month. It was just that true up that you do see on the report. So you always see the amount, but you don't get to see the detail.
Okay, so
What-
are we
what,
talking, the
what
cap
she's
that I'm looking
proposing
at,
is
the
that
9,088?
You would
Is that
then-
an allocation, or is that a?
Yeah, that's the monthly allocation.
Yeah, okay,
Right.
so
And
that
then-
allocation would go away, then, right?
Right.
Yeah,
So
you
instead of
wouldn't see
paying
that
on
anymore.
that invoice, that amount, you would then be paying for the work that was actually done that gets invoiced
It would just
on
push,
the invoice that you see every month.
it would
Okay.
push everything from a cap invoice that you don't see to the time and materials invoice that you do see.
Okay,
Right.
okay.
So theoretically, it's not going to make any difference at
We-
the end of the year. Yeah.
Financially, no.
No.
No. Yeah,
So-
otherwise,
Because we're going to pay. If we have something major, we're going to fix it.
No
The
matter
only thing
what.
that we
Yeah.
usually keep caps for anyways in our other districts is meter change-out programs, which y'all are still going through.
Okay.
That's literally the only reason we.
Okay,
put
so
it
then,
zero.
just to clarify, we won't have a rebate anymore then? It'll
No.
be expenses as we
Right,
go?
yeah.
Correct.
Yep.
Okay.
Pay as you go. Did I make a motion? I did.
I think you did, okay.
I think I seconded it, right?
Nope.
Did we
Oh,
second it?
I thought I seconded it.
I
I'm
think you
sorry.
did.
Okay, I'm seconding that. That's
Okay,
fine.
I'm good with that.
Okay. Okay, so do we have any more discussion? Is everybody clear that what we're talking about is really just an accounting change? It's
Yes.
not
That's
making
an
any.
allocation of funds that
Yeah,
will
and
now
we're not
just be
making
drawn
any
against.
changes to the budget. It's just an accounting change, and it's gonna eliminate a report on, a monthly report in our, that we have to
In the
review.
packet, yeah.
Yeah, in the packet.
Let's
Everybody
just do
understand?
due diligence to make sure that that's accurate. so.
Yeah. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Say aye. Okay. Okay, so keep going, Mackenzie.
So that still doesn't affect the base fee amount that is increasing. That's what your CPI increases on. The amount for that is $625,831.44 annually.
Say that again?
Way too much.
It's $625,831.44 annually. That's what the new CPI amount brought your CPI.
Okay,
brought your
okay, you're
amount
just,
to.
that's the
So,
annual after the CPI.
Yes,
Got
if
it.
you've seen this form every year, you
Yeah.
get it every year, it looks like this, we'll just take out the annual repair and maintenance budget line, which is your cap.
Okay.
If you guys want to make a motion to approve it, I'll just draft this form up and we'll give it to you guys tomorrow with that line taken out.
What was the percentage increase?
I don't
Cost
have,
of living.
yes,
and
it is
for those-
cost of living, but I have the full breakdown, spreadsheet as well.
Yeah,
And-
but they
and-
got a formula.
And
Well,
Infomark, you get a cost of living increase every single year, is that correct? And that doesn't change. Anything that you do, it's just automatic, you get a cost of living increase, or a cost of contract increase, whatever you
Yeah,
call it.
well, just like most of us get
Well,
pay
the first 2
increases.
years, they didn't have any increase, but
Yeah, I
the
think we
year
do the
after
first
that.
5 or 10 years, you don't get an increase, and then it's yearly after.
It's not optional, is it?
No, it's just part of the contract.
We really need to look at this contract and try this one again.
Okay,
Okay, give me the amount again, I'm sorry.
It is-
64? What?
It's
600.
625,831.44. Breaks
that's
it
the
down.
annual.
Yes.
That's the annual.
The monthly amount is $52,152.56.
Okay, so tell me what the difference on a monthly basis it is from last
What's our
month to this
current,
one.
do you know our current monthly base? I want to say it's like $2,000,
Okay,
something
okay.
around there. Because I know you pay, it's like 50,400 right now or something like that.
Got
maybe
it?
a little bit more, so then it would be a less than $2,000 adjustment monthly.
Okay, okay. And I'm
This new
trying to-
contract has been, we're on the fourth year or third year?
I think this is the 4th year.
God, it
Fourth year.
seems
So
like,
next year is up for renegotiation.
They're not the only
Yeah,
ones who
yeah.
have that built-in cost of,
Oh, I know.
oh, yeah,
Your current amount is $50,449.20.
yeah,
a month.
yeah, okay.
Okay.
Okay, so did we need a motion for something?
No.
You just have to approve your CPI increase.
Okay, and just out of curiosity, what was the percentage?
I can pull that up. I have to pull up their spreadsheet. Give me a second.
Okay,
Yeah.
because
It should be
if I remember
3%,
correctly,
right?
the
It's right
calculate,
under 3, I believe.
Oh, okay.
yeah, it's, if I'm remembering, it's based on a whole bunch of things out in the universe,
Cola?
if I'm right.
Yeah, they collect quite a bit of data to put into it. Hold on, there it is.
It was way more complicated than an ARM mortgage, let me
It's-
put it that way.
In a what?
You
It's
know how
actually
you have an ARM, you
3.37.
know, where you have an adjustable rate mortgage, and
Yeah, and
It's what?
this was way more complicated.
Because it has,
3.37.
we have so much equipment that we have, each one has different
A different
CPI
CPI.
rates. And
Okay.
so this takes each one of those different, fields that they have the standard accounting that the government
And they
has
each have a
created.
different percentage, so then they
compared-
add it all in and average
And
it
then,
out.
yeah, and then they're all weighted based on
Overhead,
balancing your
they're just
district
buildings.
of what types of equipment that you
Yeah.
have. So each one has a different rate, you have a different weighting of that rate based on how much of that you have and use, and that's where the number comes from.
okay, all I can say it was complicated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So last year was 2.9082, this year's 3.3765.
Yeah,
2 point what?
Everything.
Last year was
It's only gonna get worse.
2.9082. And this
you know,
year's
that's the good news and bad news about
3.3765.
interest rates going up.
I'm
and
sorry, I'm
inflation.
hard of hearing.
Okay, so,
3.3765 is this year.
Oh, thank you.
okay, you gonna make a motion? Art,
I make a motion to approve the CPI index for the amount of 62,192 and 52 cents. Is that correct?
I believe so.
Monthly
Yeah, 52.92. Or 52.
for Infomark's contract charges.
Why do we have to make a motion on something that's not
we?
optional?
They're presenting you with a letter to sign.
Yeah, there will be a letter. I'll give you
The letter
guys.
that's-
Somebody's going to sign it.
Well,
Letter will be changed.
yes, it will be changed.
And what you're essentially.
The line for the base,
approving
the
what the letter's gonna say, so you can sign it.
the letter will look identical except the cap line will come out.
Now, if they don't want you to sign the letter, then you're correct. It's-
Do we have to sign the letter?
Well, up to this time, it's included the maintenance cap and
Uh,
everything, so it's more detailed.
Right.
So
So it may not be necessary anymore. Maybe this one time where it shows you're removing the maintenance cap?
Yeah, that would be necessary just so as a go-forward basis, somebody
yeah,
would see when it was
It's a
removed.
different account.
There will also be a contract amendment that will have to come through, so.
oh, I mean, because the contract,
Our
because,
contract includes the cap, so we'll have to take that information out and submit that for an amendment.
okay, that's fine, okay, that's fine.
that would be a separate. approval.
Yeah, that will likely
But
come next month.
you're approving
Yes, next month, yeah.
essentially the content of this letter,
Right.
so when they fix it, then Kathy's will sign it.
Okay,
Art, you've made the motion, I'll second Art's motion.
yeah. Okay, do we have any more discussion? All those in favor? Say aye. Okay,
Okay, last, as far as money approval goes, this is the insulation for the ceiling roof that we
Okay.
needed. I don't know why our printer did not print the packet out properly, but the Superior General did give us basically a why they believe you need it, and the gist of it is your utilities here are not in a room down below where most houses it would be, community buildings or things of this size, it would be somewhere lower than the ceiling. And there's no insulation between your utilities and the roof at all.
yeah. I think that's why we had the freeze, to be quite honest. I mean, why it froze
The
up
issue.
there.
So
Yeah.
we
So-
said.
So they're not going to install insulation?
No, they said they recommend you
Oh,
install the
okay.
insulation because you have no barrier between your utilities, your pipes, your AC unit, everything up there.
There was no insulation
There's-
up
it's
there?
not
There's
wrapped?
no insulation on the roof, it's below your utilities. All of your utilities sit on top of all of that down there.
All the rafters?
Yes, so the insulation that's on this insulates this room. Everything is above that
Yeah.
in your attic.
Yeah.
So that's why.
Is the plan to do both, where you have the ceiling?
Yes,
included
the
and-
ceiling one was included in the restructuring of the building from insurance. The additional installation was for the roof because we didn't already have roof insulation, like
Yeah.
actually along the roof.
Yeah, okay, so did they, and so, are we blowing, are they gonna blow foam? What-
I'm not entirely sure.
Okay,
Here's the,
Do you have the amount?
Yes, it's $1,875.
$1,800. And it's the entire,
It's this entire side
here you
over
go.
here,
okay,
where all of your utilities reside for the building.
Catherine wants it because she comes from Yankee Doodle Land where it's really
Uh,
cold.
It makes a difference, though. Okay, but see, I don't have an issue, with, okay. R30 install. That's great, R30. It just still doesn't tell me what kind of insulation.
It doesn't, I'm
I
not
mean,
sure
are
what
we-
they're gonna
R30
use.
is the roll kind.
Well,
Isn't it? The
isn't-
pink stuff?
It can be other kinds too, but it
Well,
just has to
it's-
see,
Be
it
that
has to be
thick.
certain
Ours-
thickness.
Did you
has
want
to
it
fit
blown
in your
in?
rack. It
No,
has to fit inside
well,
the
it could be, yeah, it doesn't matter.
Do you care?
No, I don't, at this
Okay.
point. I'm just curious, I want to know what it is.
I'm sorry, I can ask for you.
No, it's not fun. I don't have a problem with it, but I honestly do believe that, I think the whole building is gonna be in a better shape if we have some insulation.
I hope this room is as cool as that hallway when that's done.
This side doesn't have any utilities on it. I don't believe it's gonna cover it.
We're not gonna get any,
So yeah,
Relief
there's
in
actually a wall that goes all the way down from the front to about like right in that general area where it's not
Maybe that's why this room is hot. is
slanted.
because
And then there's
There's
the only
nothing
thing that's
keeping
like
it
you can
down
actually
here.
walk in is like behind that and across over here. And then down this side, this inside.
It's $1,800?
$1,800.
just to do that
It
side.
covers more, it's basically half of your building
Yeah.
where your utilities reside in the attic. Which
Okay.
are all right
I
back
had
in
no
that corner
experience
over
in
there.
that. Catherine, you've done it to your house. Does that sound
Yeah.
reasonable?
Give me the number.
1875.
1875. And what's the name of the contractor
Superior
again?
General.
Superior. So are they the people who've been doing all the work here?
There's actually something they'll be giving us a quote for next month. There's some sort of something going on in the roof attic area where there's basically a hole. You can see outside.
Oh, that doesn't sound good.
Yeah, so I told them to give us another quote for that. We discovered it last week when they were in the attic, putting the first layer of insulation down.
Has it been there a long time, or is this an animal, or?
He didn't say it was an animal. He described it to me as basically somebody didn't complete something. And
Oh, listen, for those of us most of us who've got, peaks, I'm willing to bet if you stuck your head up into your attic and looked out, you would probably
see
because
light coming in, yeah.
because they didn't get the framing all the way to the edges, yeah.
Mackenzie, did this contractor say that they were gonna block the openings in the roof so that moisture will not cause that
If I'm not
insulation to mold?
mistaken, they already have, because he discovered it like maybe last week, late in the week, and he was like, "Did you know?" And I was like, "Absolutely not." He said, "Well, do you want us to provide you a proposal for that work?" And I said, "Yes, absolutely." And he
Yeah.
said, "Okay, they basically had been up there all week. I'll double check, but I'm almost certain that they put something makeshift for now because I told him I would be bringing his proposal to the board.
Okay. Makeshift, you mean to shut close the
Just
hole?
like putting something over the hole, I couldn't tell you what.
Yeah. I'm surprised we're
It's-
not
he didn't-
seeing evidence of creatures.
He didn't say it was very large. He said it was pretty small, but you could still see outside, and you're gonna get stuff
You'd be
coming in.
surprised what can get into a
Yeah.
hole this big, yeah. Okay, so I move that we accept the proposal by Superior General for $1,875 to complete the insulation at 1,000 Old Mill. Okay. We have a timeline?
We can probably do it this week, because they're
Okay.
still in and out doing their finishing touches. The carpet in the front office is pretty much our last issue.
Okay.
We're having an issue because the tower in there can't move more than 20 inches. And if we take the tower out, we can't access the doors, the cameras, or anything.
You're talking about
The server tower.
Yeah, the server tower.
So it
Okay.
has cords that come from the roof down inside of it, and it also plugs into the wall. We don't have very much wiggle room with it, so they're working with the contractor who manages that tower for you guys to see what they can do, and I think they've worked out a date of November 22nd to get it done.
Okay, okay. Okay,
vote.
Can I go back to the water accountability? So we're at
Hold on,
88%.
We're not.
We're in the middle of a vote.
Yeah, so all those in favor say
Oh,
aye.
I thought we
Aye.
voted on it.
No,
Say aye.
okay, go back to your water
So,
accountability.
yes, we're at 88 this month, but that is being that I think we just this past week fixed your last leaks. So you have, the only thing we have left is an inoperable meter. It's obviously still there. We don't have a meter to replace it with yet because it is, I believe it's a residential, but it's a larger residential meter. I'm sorry, it's not a residential meter. We had a leak at a residential meter.
You said you had 2 fire hydrants.
We fixed those this past week.
Okay.
So we're expecting,
I expect December to look different, and if not, we need to start looking at other things. I've also requested from the city of Cedar Park to do another master meter test on all of the master meters to make sure that they're properly.
You know, in the future, we should go the other way. We should have them do the calibration test.
Every time they do it, it's perfect. I've never had them take it back and it be
Yeah.
different.
Where's the leak detection report that we paid $18,000 for?
We got it
Y'all
back
had
in
that
August or
two
something.
or 3 months ago.
Did Herb look at that?
I think you
It was
did.
here.
Yeah, it was from Benco or Semco.
Yeah,
or-
it's about
Did it-
10
did it in
residential.
August.
And it
Yeah,
pinpointed all the
residential
ones they
leaks.
were gonna start off with.
yeah.
Because the numbers just aren't improved. I
No,
mean,
no, but
Well,
we're
we also-
we're
we-
still
the-
dealing with fixes.
But they
That's what I'm
identified
saying,
the leaks.
About last
But I
week is
agree
when
with
they
you,
fixed your last hydrant.
88%. Fire hydrant at max does 20 PSI. I mean, a leak wouldn't be that much.
Before we hired Samco to find the leaks, we were at 83%, or 86%, or 85%. We haven't
Right.
really improved.
So
No,
we
but-
need some improvements.
Yeah, but we're
Yeah,
just
absolutely.
now getting
We just finished all of your leaks.
yeah.
So all the leaks are done.
Yes, the only thing we have left is the inoperable meter. We've submitted a work order to Badger for a meter, but they don't.
Okay, so the
But
process
the
of
meter we're
elimination
talking about,
basically.
is it a commercial meter?
I can't remember if it's commercial. I want to say it's a tracking meter, which is a meter that tracks a flow. It's basically tracked and then subtracted off of another meter that's right beside it.
Yeah, but that's not going to
It's not going to do a whole lot.
no, I didn't
But
think so.
we did also just have a lady who had a huge water leak issue and used 77,000 gallons, or 73 one month and 70 the next month.
Don't tell Catherine that. You know how she feels about that.
We've already talked about it.
Yeah,
That's a lot of water.
That's a
It-
lot of water.
It's a whole lot of
You know
water.
what?
And a
what
fire
else-
hydrant isn't gonna do that. That's what that's what I'm saying. These are minor leaks in
A
retrospect.
couple of Sundays ago, I was taking a walk and I was going down Sunchase, and that steep incline down where Madeline looped into the pond.
Yeah,
Well, there was something gushing over there, gushing in that spot. And the neighbor had called in for Mark, and I think the guy's name was Glenn who showed up, maybe Glenn?
Operator.
And he, of course, had to figure out, somebody had left a cone there because work had been done several months earlier. But while he was in his truck, my husband and I are standing there, he's in his truck for 20, 30 minutes. That water is rushing. I mean, it looked like
Yeah.
a busted
Was it
fire
a
hydrant.
work day?
No, it was a weekend. It was a weekend. And he said, I don't even know where the turnoff is for this. He didn't even know what it was that was leaking. Finally, we just went on about our walk and
yeah.
said, told the neighbor, if it doesn't stop within an hour, call again.
Right.
Yeah.
But that was a lot of water that
So
went
we
down.
don't even know where it came from?
Yeah, it was,
17.
see, it can't be
We won't see
irrigation.
anything.
Well, I
It's-
know
it's
that
on
a
the
couple of
slope.
months
It
ago,
really is.
I went and I was driving by and there were guys down in that exact same spot, and he says there's a major leak at this guy at the house there called it in.
Oh, it was somebody's house.
It was a
meter?
but it was a water line had broken somewhere, and that's where it was all coming from. But I don't know if that was the
gonna
same
say,
time.
I didn't hear anything about a district water line, so it had to have been residential.
But it's behind a property owner's fence. It's in the slope of the pond.
Just because it's behind that doesn't mean that it couldn't be theirs, that
Okay.
if somebody.
Well, yeah,
Anyway.
let's really try to focus in and narrow, get this percentage up at
That's
least to
why I went ahead
94.
and reached out to City of Cedar
Geez,
Park.
88%,
I'm
man.
hoping we see some improvement next month, and if not, there's gonna have to be some other stuff done, so.
So do we know how many of the leaks that Samco detected?
All of them were leaks. Every
And have
single
they
one.
all been fixed?
As of last week, yes.
Okay.
That's what my point was. As
We
of
got
last
another
week.
month to
So
see.
your meter reads happened on the 13th, so it still might not show just yet, because that was last week after that, but it was right in the middle of it that it was finished. We should see some improvement because we only had a few leaks left.
I know.
Okay.
The thing is, it's like, it's a lot of water.
It
It's
is.
a lot of water.
I mean, 5%, is a lot
I
of
mean,
water.
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
that's where we're at with that. Last up on my list was the RFQ. As of now, I haven't received anything from anybody. I have no questions other than the ones that Linda had asked, and I did address those with Catherine.
Mhm.
I didn't ask questions.
You had asked questions from the attorney you sent in.
Oh, I didn't ask him questions.
No,
He-
you asked me questions.
I said, I'm gonna send this to Mackenzie in case there's anything she's
Yeah, I
sending
never
out
got
to me.
anything back from him at all.
Because
Um,
he wasn't going to apply,
Yeah,
but you never can tell if his stumbling blocks were addressed by somebody else.
Yeah.
So that's why you got it. That's
So we
the
got 2
Okay,
days,
well,
right? The
it's really-
19th is the deadline.
yeah, they know that, everyone that we've sent it to knows the deadline. We've had it posted to the district website on the day that it was supposed
It's,
to.
which is Friday. What did we
The
say?
date that we were supposed to receive stuff is this Friday.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying,
Yeah.
2 days from
I
now.
haven't had
What did we say,
anything
4
from
o'clock? Did we put, I can't remember. Did we
Yeah,
put
end
it-
of business day, which is 4.
Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna make the assumption that somebody is going to apply.
We
is
have
gonna
one
respond.
firm that's expressed interest, and that's it.
Okay.
Is it
And-
McGinnis Lockridge?
Yes, it is.
Is it Zach Evans?
Yes.
Bingo. Well,
So-
he's disqualified.
So.
He can apply, Catherine.
So.
Zach
we're-
Evans
we're
can't
not-
apply?
We're gonna, let me finish what I wanted to say. At the last board meeting, we talked about doing interviews on December 8th and having a public meeting. And I would like to suggest that we change how we handle the interviews. And what I would like to suggest is that we have 2 subcommittees handle the interviews separately. And every time that we've hired a new vendor, we have never had held public interviews. What we've done is we've had subcommittees handle the process. And so what I would like to suggest is that the Parks Committee and the Waste Management Committee have separate interviews, and they have to be completely Chinese wall separated. The 2 of you can talk about it, the 2 of you can talk about it, but you can't discuss it between yourselves, you can't discuss it with me, and then at the next.
So we score them individually without
Right, you take your
disclosing.
notes, and then at the next public meeting, we go ahead and you share all of your findings with me. And then we have a discussion in a
Before the
full.
public.
Yes, at that point.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be a committee meeting for the interviews.
Okay,
I don't think any attorney wants to be in the public eye during an interview.
yeah. So that's what, so that way, then we can do, the 2 of you, the 2 committees can then do a Zoom meeting or a Teams meetup meeting or whatever you want to call it. You don't have to have it, and I'm assuming it's just going to be much more convenient to schedule that. That's my, so does anybody have any feedback on that?
Can I make a comment?
Sure.
Particularly because I did talk to Catherine about this option. It'll be very important. I mean, one committee can interview the law firm candidates, and the other committee can interview the law firm candidates. Very important that you not communicate cross-committee until we get to a public meeting, which will probably be December 15th.
Yeah, that's the plan.
Oh, so we can't share our findings.
Only
no,
us.
No.
Oh, I know,
Only
you and I
us.
can't.
So
but-
keep it between you two.
Yes.
Between you two, and then you come probably to the December 15 meeting. And at that meeting, you can share with your comments with the whole board, but not before that.
Not before,
So
that's
you
right.
take your notes. So I think everybody understands that, but if one of you talks to the other committee
That's
about
bad,
anything related,
yeah,
then we have a quorum.
I don't think
Okay, so-
that's going to be an issue.
no.
Um,
We discussed this at the DRC, so I want to make sure my timeline is
so
correct.
December 8th or 9th. 9th.
8th and 9th,
Right.
right?
So,
And
but-
then,
but-
and then the
But now,
15th.
if it's
we
committee,
can-
it can change to anything,
Well,
right?
yeah, see, I'm thinking then it could be any time that week, and it could be during the day at 4 o'clock, you know, it can be like I said, it can be a video interview. And that's actually what we did with virginity, if I remember correctly, is that we did, Zoom interview. We had a long.
We did Zoom interviews with them and the others that had applied.
Yeah, yeah. So this is that.
How
and
were
it's-
you in a virginity
It was the old
interview
Parks
since you're not
Committee.
on the Parks Committee?
Because.
It was the old.
Oh, the
Parks
old
Committee.
Parks Committee,
Yeah, I
and,
mean,
and you
yeah.
invited Megan before she was
Yeah.
Okay,
elected.
what I have here is Monday, the 13th would be the special board meeting, right? That would be after
No,
we
you
made a
get-
determination, or?
December 13th is going to be the
DRC.
DRC.
Yeah, we're gonna do DRC,
We
right,
had a special meeting we're going to do on the 8th.
right.
On the 8th, I got that, the interviews.
So then 13 is DRC and 15 will be the
So what we're gonna have is we're gonna have a DRC meeting on the 13th, a regular board meeting on the 15th, and then sometime at your convenience with whoever, assuming we get a respondent, that, you have a video interview. That's what I'd like to suggest. So is that, can you make that work?
Okay, the 8th, we do an interview,
Yeah.
personal interview. They come here, we
No,
interview.
no, it
Video.
doesn't, it doesn't, it can be a Zoom. I think that's makes it a burden that it has to be in person. Because technology says that, you can do it over the lunch hour, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, the 8th is fine, but what time did we choose? I forget.
Well, you would have to
You're gonna have to
negotiate.
negotiate that with me.
Yeah,
I'm flexible.
Okay. Yeah, it would have to be in the afternoon.
I'll work on your schedule because I don't work. So whatever you want to do, Art, just tell me.
Okay.
But before we go any further, Catherine, before
Yeah.
you make this more complicated than it needs to be, Zach Evans is disqualified from applying. Page 5, paragraph D, knocks him out of the running. He cannot have provided any legal counsel to any member of this board, individually or combined. He provided legal counsel to me, and he provided legal counsel to this board. He was their initial selection against my lawsuit. So he's disqualified.
Yeah, he can.
His professional ethics is going to force him to have to recuse himself. So he doesn't really have a
He
choice.
hasn't actually applied yet. He's
Okay,
the
good.
only one that has expressed any interest.
Tell him he's got,
This
Please
isn't the
point-
guy that's in- this
please
isn't the guy
point
that's interested,
him-
or the firm that's interested.
please point him to page 5, paragraph D, and tell him to ask himself if that meets his ethical standard.
okay.
Okay.
So.
And, hey, wait, I have a question. So, because I'm convinced he will be disqualified. He was disqualified from
No,
serving
yeah, absolutely, he can.
as the special counsel against my lawsuit for that very reason. So if that happens and nobody else applies, that means Bill has to stay.
I hope so.
That's what happens. So, let's see what
I
happens.
want him to stay, I'll
I
say that
know
right
you
now.
do. I know you
We
do.
will
I'm gonna say that right now, I want him to stay.
through the process. If you find you don't have any people responding, you could restart the process,
Or
and we will not abandon you during that. So,
what if nobody wants to apply? Then what? You're going to stay? At what point do you get to say I've had enough?
well, I could, under this relationship, Linda, at any time you can ask us to stop, and we'll stop. At any
Yeah.
time we can say we're gonna stop,
Oh, you can.
and we're gonna stop.
Okay.
But
So
I
you're
will not leave the district hanging with no general counsel.
okay.
So we'll see how this goes. But I'm optimistic we'll have a candidate. Maybe
We'll have-
not this
we'll have
round,
other
maybe
candidates?
not this round,
Oh,
but I'm optimistic.
okay.
Okay,
All right.
okay, I don't think we need to make any motions on this, do we?
Well, if everybody's in agreement to do it that way, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
We will not be posting the September 8th meeting. That's not going to happen.
Okay,
And only one other caution is, you're meeting in committee, it's not an open meeting, it's a private meeting. But if you create a record, if you record it, if you create some records, they could be subject to open.
Should we not take notes?
No, I think you can take notes.
Okay.
But you need to know that the notes may be subject to
Oh,
open record.
I'm an open book.
But
No.
Yeah.
I would recommend strongly, do not record it.
Oh, no.
yeah, yeah,
No.
okay.
Okay.
Move on to agenda item 6, report from the Information Management Committee and B, uploads to the Google Drive.
We haven't made any headway on this yet, Megan.
What do you mean? I see folders now.
No, we have folders and we've been working on getting things in there. I'm just saying we don't have anything new to report. I hope to have something out by the December meeting that we have an actual folder for everyone to put these lovely documents into for you all to view prior to the meeting. And then that way you can all use your tablets.
Okay, so that was a good segue, because what I would like to do is have everybody, including me, bring their iPad, and then we will, connect to the Wi-Fi, get all that set up, and then go make sure that we're all seeing everything,
Yeah.
and sort of have a little tutorial to make sure that we're doing everything.
You can,
Okay.
you'll be able to view all of it from your house, so you won't have to actually physically be here. You'll just need to get the Wi-Fi password.
Tell her we need training.
We need training. That's what I
Yeah,
said.
no, that's fine. I'm just saying I can put something together that we can set up individual meetings for. I'm not saying we all need to come here per se.
Just come 15 minutes early. I do want to make a comment about this. This says report from the Information Management Committee.
It should be records modernization.
It should be records
Records.
modernization.
Yeah.
So who actually is working on this?
So
You and
Megan and
Megan.
Art
Okay.
actually. We haven't physically done anything this month, but we did get Stage's stuff updated and they're starting to input theirs.
I can't see a folder out there for them. I looked today.
It's there. We didn't make it publicly viewable yet until they were able to put stuff in it because it's been empty until about last week.
Well, it won't hurt anything to make it viewable. Just don't give anybody right access.
Oh no,
Just
I'm
read.
aware. We just didn't have anything in it, and
Well-
the folder had to be entirely deleted and added back because they couldn't add anything to it.
So you're the administrator, Lee's the assistant administrator.
Yeah,
right?
we both have administrator
Okay.
rights too.
All right.
Well, Lee, not for much longer.
Yeah. Okay. So agenda.
She's standing in for Mark, but she's not going to work with
Oh,
Art.
okay.
I don't know. We're all gonna miss her. Agenda item 7.
Bye,
Report
Lee.
from the.
Oh, wait. Before you get too
Yeah.
far, I did have something on 6. I would like to see, Mackenzie, this might come from you, I'm sure Art doesn't have it, but I would like to see the drive layout and the indexing standards and the file formats being stored on the drive.
Okay.
I want that in advance. I would also like you to have the records retention requirements for the documents in each folder.
So you want like a form in each folder?
However you think would be best. It could be a banner page, whatever.
I don't know that that's going to be a doable thing in Google Drive.
Okay, well, I'm just giving you figure out how. I'm just telling you
Well,
what I
I'm letting
think.
you know there may not be a how.
Then we'd have to put a page in there that's
Okay, that was my question.
do
If
that.
You want a page, that's
Um,
pretty much going to be your.
That
You're
way
looking
people-
for file format?
I'd like to know the file formats. Well, I went looking through the folders today, and there was a file that wouldn't open because the file format's older than me. So, yeah, that won't work.
Okay.
So that needs to be looked at. So there are 19 folders out there right now with documents in file formats that are obsolete. Look at the tennis courts for an example of one. Try to download the file, that's how you'll find out. File names need to be standardized. We'll never be able to find anything otherwise. And date formatting is essential from the very beginning. So if you're going to use dates,
Julian dates. That's how we handle our. With the year though. I'm sorry. I'm not saying that right.
say it in English.
I'm sorry. I was thinking one thing. Year, month, date.
Yes.
No. No formatting. 2021, 11/15. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the
European
simplest
dates.
and the best way of always learning.
Yeah, and that way it's always in order.
Yep.
Okay, then you need to work on what's in the folders now and just rename them. Select a format that makes sequencing sense. Okay,
Well,
Okay. What do you mean by sequencing?
that was your.
Oh, okay.
So that
Yeah.
would, you
Yeah.
already covered that.
And Art and Megan, didn't I send these suggestions to you both already?
I don't remember.
Okay. Okay, so, and then I already told you I can't see the one on Sapient. What I did see out there, though, that I thought was really enlightening was 7 folders of Fern Bluff business. I mean, everything from meeting minutes to resolutions, you name it. Fern Bluff business is on our server. I literally screenshot every single folder and then
What folder is it in?
the shared folder that I can see. So I was wondering, Do you guys do business with Fern Bluff?
No.
Why would Fern Bluff's data
That's
be
what
on
I,
our server?
that's why I said what folder
Where,
do you see
where
it in?
though?
I
Yeah.
can show it to you. I'll show
Okay,
it to
that's
you.
weird.
It's gonna be in a certain folder, so
Well, I only have one link that says shared with me, and when I click that, that's where I expected to find the packets. And then all this Fern Bluff
is it
popped up.
labeled Fern Bluff?
Yeah.
I'm searching the Google Drive and nothing's coming up.
Okay, I'll show it to you on mine. How's that? After the meeting. I won't show it to you now, but I will show it to you before
Just
you
send me
leave.
a screenshot, and that way, if it has like the location of the folder, because it'll break it down at the top usually.
It does.
Okay, report from the Parks Committee. So, we're gonna start with, park rules.
Megan, I'd like to start by thanking you very much for what you sent today.
Yes,
It
I-
took
yes.
50 questions off my list.
I was just gonna say the same thing, that was really helpful.
It was tremendously helpful.
Yes.
I only wish we would have had it yesterday, because now I didn't get to look at everything.
You're talking about the comparison.
The
Yes,
comparison
that was
and the other one
so
too.
made it so easy.
Yeah, okay. Alright, so, just as a recap, the draft park rules that we have in front of us tonight are the same draft that we brought forward a month ago. They've been on the website ever since, like the day after our last meeting for people to comment on. We've only received feedback from one person with questions, and those are the questions that are reflected in that one document I sent today.
I didn't send you mine. I did not send them to you. I have them by myself.
So, just to kind of quickly reiterate, like, why we decided to work on this project, and kind of a summary of the changes that we were sort of looking to achieve. We were noticing that the park rules weren't sort of addressing some of the ways that the parks have been used in recent years. We have situations come up where somebody will request something and it's like, well, that's not really in our park rules, or we can sort of shoehorn it into this rule, but it doesn't really fit. And so we wanted to just kind of do an overhaul, update them, make sure that they reflected the way that our parks are being used, and kind of struck a balance between allowing the kind of things that we want to have happening in our parks, while also making sure that they're safe and accessible, inclusive for everybody.
You might.
Oh, sorry. So the main areas that we sort of focused on, first of all, obviously you'll notice like we did a ton of reorganization, rewording of things, just to try to bring, group together things that belong together that were otherwise kind of scattered in the current rules. We also, one of the things we focused on was commercial uses, because the current rules just have a very short general paragraph about commercial uses. There's not a very good definition of what that means, what's included in that. And then there's just a flat fee for all commercial uses, regardless of what they are, what their space requirements are, what their, reservation requirements are, how many people they have, et cetera. So we felt like we needed, because we have had a lot of interest in people using our parks for classes and lessons, and they're pretty popular. So we wanted to make sure that we had rules that address commercial uses, comprehensively enough that we were accounting for all the different types of commercial uses, and also making sure that when the park is used that way, it doesn't disrupt normal use of the park. We also looked at the tennis and pickleball court pretty closely, because that has they're used heavily for both things, and that has caused some conflicts, particularly since we have a lot of tennis instruction going on there. So we wanted to make sure that we were maximizing, accessibility for our residents first and foremost. And then also trying to do what we can to sort of help mitigate the conflicts that we're sort of seeing on a recurring basis. We also wanted to kind of revisit all the reservation rates and deposit amounts to generally sort of favor the resident over a non-resident, to adjust the deposit so that we can cover things more easily if things don't go well, or if the entity reserving the space doesn't clean up after themselves or whatever, like we saw this last month. But also to simplify the reservation rates, because before it was like, this time frame on this day, and if you add this, then it's this much, and if you have this, and it just was so confusing. So it was just kind of...
The table make just
yeah, the table was like, I don't even know. So trying to simplify that as well, just have a flat rate, whether if you're a resident or a non-resident, and just keep it simple like
So
that.
where did you go, and when you were looking at reorganizing the rates, who did you look at?
We looked at, I looked at Andersonville Limited District. I looked at, and this is sort of across the board as we were kind of looking at all the rules.
Yeah.
We looked at,
Because having it gone through this already, it's like you're looking, okay, what's going on in the community
Yes.
in terms of how things are being charged.
yes, exactly. And Andersonville Limited District was helpful just because they're so close to us, and they're also a special district. And I looked at Cedar Park, I looked at Austin, I looked at some other MUDs, might have been Brushy Creek, might have been Fern Bluff, I don't know. We've been doing this project for so long now.
I believe we looked at both.
Yeah, we started this back in like March. I don't know if Matt, you remember any of the ones that we specifically looked at, but, yeah, so, we did try to get a sense for what is sort of the average, but then also account for, how our specific facilities are used and the costs that we, actually incur to run the facility. So, talking to Mackenzie and Lee about, how much it costs to
Right.
clean this, and
So are we starting to see more reservations picking up as we're getting tired of the pandemic?
all summer.
Really? Okay.
What did you just say? I'm sorry, I missed it.
So they've been pretty steady all summer?
Is there any way to get those reservations displayed on the online system?
like the person reserving.
Just like they do on the paper calendar app?
I don't, Lee, do you know? I don't know. 'Cause
I don't think it displays in the same way online.
Is it cost effective? I mean,
Like
that's-
it's reserved, but not necessarily who's reserving it.
yeah.
Well, I mean, it would be really helpful to see tumbling classes online, because if people can't see that, they don't know that classes are being offered and they're not gonna go.
Well, I think,
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. I thought it's scheduled. Okay.
They have a calendar, just looks just like the calendar. But it says that the park is reserved, booked, but it doesn't tell you for what.
yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's because we want to be able to say we have these classes in our parks, there's probably another way that we can do that.
Cost effectively, how would that be?
Yeah, without then making it so that any individual who makes a reservation has their information out there, because,
Yeah, that's really what the issue is, yeah.
right, like,
Well, no more than what you publish right outside the store. The calendar out there that has their last name and their time window.
does it?
That's
it has-
generated by us ourselves.
Yeah, manually, they
Yeah.
do that manually.
Right, I mean,
Just think about it, I'm just making that suggestion. If you
Yeah.
want people to use the parks, I don't come over here to look at this schedule, I go online, and if I can't see that there's a tumbling class, I'm not gonna join in. So that's what I'm suggesting.
yeah, I'm just wondering if there's even a better way to put it out there for people.
I actually
than
looked at
going
that
into the-
SCIDA software,
Yeah,
and it does allow it to be customized that way. I did send something to Lee a while ago about it and asked her to check with Touchstone, but just write that on your list of things to do in your spare time.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to interject, you made a comment about the usage. The revenue number for the month was 1,100, which is more than a third of our budget that we put for the entire year. So obviously, last year we didn't do much, the last
No,
2 years.
yeah,
And we
because of the
severely under budgeted that line, we're gonna blow through that very quickly.
And that's a great,
Especially if we're gonna be raising the rates at all.
that's a great number, but we spent $1,200
Yeah,
for
that's exactly the
three
point.
trips to the
What
park,
we all
so.
noticed as we were discussing this in the B&I meeting, so.
Did you figure that out, where it would more break even? You're never gonna break exactly, but did you
Yeah.
get closer?
Well, yeah, we got closer because we were trying to calculate it based on what's a more normal period of time that it takes to clean the park. That was,
Versus 3 hours.
yeah, that's 3
That was
hours
nuts.
for each, yeah, it was,
The entire park, not just the pavilion.
yeah, that was abnormal. So, you know,
if you really look, yeah.
Well, I guess if the deposit is big enough, and if somebody has to clean for 3 hours, well, that's on them, on the renter, right?
yeah, I mean, it needs to be that if someone leaves a mess like that, they don't get their deposit back.
Right, it's all off
And
the
the
deposit.
And the deposit is,
The cost, but the
And that's all
actual
that we did.
cost, right?
We put the deposit to the amount, which we talked about earlier in the meeting. The deposit is so that we can cover our expenses to be able to clean it up.
Based on a more average
Yes.
So what was your
We're not doing it to rip anybody off or to make money. It was strictly to make sure that we have enough to be able to clean up.
So,
That's the
so
biggest.
how many hours was the deposit supposed to cover? What is the deposit?
depends
It
on your
depends
renting.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Wasn't it, which is gone.
for the, okay, so for the building, the deposit is $250.
Wow.
Because we have like stuff in here.
Right.
If it's
What
right.
is, so what is, how many hours is it, because when I'm thinking about cleaning, and I'm thinking pavilion, and my observation is the trash cans are full. It's like, you know, by 2 o'clock on a Saturday, the trash cans are absolutely full everywhere. And I'm assuming that's part of what is going on is you're coming in between reservations.
That's when we send them, is usually between, to clean up after one to prepare for the next.
And you're emptying the trash can so the next group of people can have a place to put their trash. So how many hours does that take and what is the deposit?
If it's only gonna be the pavilion, it's the drive time to get there, which is usually 20 to 30 minutes, maybe 30 minutes there, 30 minutes home, that's it.
Okay.
Yeah,
So more like half of what we saw.
It's like $180.
Okay, that's not bad.
and I think the hope is that once the rules are approved, we can go back and fix all of our like forms and checklists and things that accompany the rules to make sure that they address
Oh,
stuff
that
like
they've got a checklist in terms of what they're supposed to do to clean up.
Yeah, so it's like perfectly clear, like if you don't do this at the pavilion, you lose your deposit.
Yeah.
And the reason why we did the building at 250 is I think that's how much it's gonna cost if Vanguard has to come back in and clean this building afterwards. If
Okay.
they leave it a mess.
And I think, didn't we also add in, because there was like the,
Equipment,
The
things
font
like that,
that
that
they
they have
use, right?
access to the things in here.
okay,
Just as a precautionary thing, should something happen, we have that. as
We don't
a-
have it all covered, but
No, but you really
But-
couldn't comfortably put something in there in an amount that somebody would even want to rent the building for the quantity, so.
Well, you don't cash the check, I mean, you don't literally deposit their check, do you?
No, I don't believe so.
You hang on to, because I've rented.
Actually, most of this is paid online by credit card, so
So,
yes, we
they
are sitting
pay,
on that
and
money.
then
they get
And
notified.
we send it back to them, Lee lets me know, well, actually.
You actually
do
cut a
the
check?
refunds and,
You actually cut a check back?
Yeah.
They pay by deposit?
It goes
as a-
back
No, we
to
don't
their
cut a
credit
check, it goes back
To
to
their
the
credit-
same credit
to the
card.
payment
Okay,
method
okay.
they use.
That's what I meant.
I'm accounting for all that, I'm used to having the old day where I, on districts where I was cutting the check, which is why those words started coming out
Okay,
now.
okay.
That is not what happens, it's
Okay.
online.
yeah, because not many people pay with a check anymore, so.
Yeah, well, that's what I was gonna say.
I was gonna tell you that when I rented it, and that's been a while, okay, I wrote a check and it was held.
Yeah, and that's the way it used to be.
That was
The
before the
physical
state
check,
Yeah.
we get it, and
Yeah.
we just sit
Yeah.
and hold the deposit check. And the bad thing about that is every once in a while, the person that would trash the place, oh, that check, we went to deposit it, and then it was bad. So it was not a deposit that was really a deposit.
And it's
The
not an
electronic
option
thing,
anymore, right?
It works.
We can't even do the check anymore is kind of the process. I don't think that's even possible anymore, so that'll go away.
Takes care of that problem.
Okay. So Linda, what are your questions about the park rules?
Oh, most of them were answered. The one that is still just not comfortable is the hours. The 5 a.m. is too early and 11 p.m. is too late. It's unreasonable when there are houses that surround these public spaces, and dawn to dusk is more common for park hours. And I wanted to know how many signs are in the district that would need to be changed if you change those park hours.
They would already need to be changed because they're already wrong based on the current hours.
And here,
But they say dawn to dusk.
The signs say dawn to dusk, the current rules don't say that.
Well,
Current
how many
rules-
signs are there?
I don't even answer that. Well, I know, well,
There's a lot. And the reason I'm saying this is because when we, or not me, this was before me, but when the previous board put the athletic field signs in Hatch Pond, the sign cost $800 and Herb's fee to check the installation was also $800. So if we just use those numbers, I really want to know how many signs we're talking about. And it might be more cost effective to change those park hours to be congruent with the existing signs. I know the ones in London Lane say dawn to dusk.
Yeah, I think they all say that.
Okay,
But-
so what's wrong with those park hours?
Because
like right
dusk
it's
is,
5:30.
so,
someone, I don't know if you
No
saw
one
that
can be in
today,
the-
but someone
people play
posted that today
tennis.
saying, can we put lights
that
out?
means no one can be in the park after 5.
Mhm.
That doesn't make any sense. And
Or your rules could say the tennis courts are open till, I don't know what's reasonable, or the basketball court is open until, I don't know.
Lighted areas.
Lighted areas.
yeah,
But the rest of the parks, and that way you could just put a sign on the gates.
I just
I
don't
think-
feel comfortable closing a park at 5, a public park at 5 p.m.
Well, it's really
No.
not ever closed. People go through them all the time, and there is no one here to kick them out. So,
Well, right, but it just seems kind of bizarre to set a rule that we're not, like, why have the rule at all if we're never going to enforce it?
well, I would.
This was a big topic, Linda, just
It was.
believe, we talked
It-
about this topic for
The
hours.
problem is that when you leave the parks open or publicly claim that they are those hours, then people can actually be in them. And I'm thinking of the bigger parks that actually get used, and they are surrounded by people's homes. If I lived next to a park, or Hatch Pond, for instance, I would not want anyone in it at 5 in the morning or 11 at night, because I would have to deal with that noise. And the people who live by the Pocket Park on Old Mill, they have gates that open up into that park. And if it's open at 5 in the morning, that's concerning. And I talked to Constable Stenson about what happens between at 5 o'clock in the morning and 11 o'clock at night, and his first response was, no good. So, you have to think about, we have no security in this district. We don't have security during these hours. And I cannot see any valid reason to have a public park open until 11. I looked at the Cedar Park ones, they're not open till 11, and they don't open at 5 o'clock in the morning either.
So if you have a resident who likes to jog, and we have trails, and we're gonna extend the trail in Maryland Loop, and they like to jog the trails in the morning before they go to work.
That was
Is
how, why
That's
we-
fine, that's fine. I mean, has there been one incident in this district where somebody has had a complaint, an arrest for being in the parks during odd hours? I walk at 5:30 in the morning, nobody's ever
Right.
shooed me out of a park or.
Right. So
And why would you want to?
I agree.
And why would
That's
you,
why we
why
put
do
it
you
at
need,
that
why
time
do you
so that
need
people
to
can walk.
change, that's not playing in the park, that is merely
No
walking
one
through.
said play.
Why do you
said
need
it's
that on the
open.
sign?
We're not renting it out at
Why
these
do you
hours.
need that on the sign? Why is it important that you say it is open at 5 a.m.? Is there
Because-
any valid
Because
reason?
if you have a sign that says this park is closed at dusk, and it's 5 p.m. on a weeknight, and I want to be playing with my children in a park, even if, if there's enough ambient light, and I have my kids at the park, or my dog, whatever, but the sign says the park's technically closed,
That's an issue.
I mean,
It's never been an issue in the 32 years I've lived here. I don't know why all of a sudden it's a problem.
Well, not in this area especially, because, it's a bedroom community.
Yeah, nobody cares, and there's nobody here to enforce it.
But yeah, so we can argue both sides of the
Right.
equation, and I think we all agree
We
on
did.
what's happening. But I agree, it doesn't make sense to set a rule that we are not going to enforce, because everything else in there, in the park rules, we are attempting to enforce.
Well, you're not gonna have anyone enforcing the who's in the park at 4:30 and who's in the park at 11:01 at night. Who is going to be enforcing that? Nobody enforces that now.
that's
Nobody's coming to enforce that later.
Yeah.
So-
We agree, we agree.
I agree with that.
So
Yeah.
the cost to change the signs,
Is that really what this is about, is the signs?
I don't know how many there are. I want to know what it costs to make a change that is completely unnecessary,
Well, how
since
many signs could there possibly be?
we've never had an issue with this, ever. I could not find
So are
one
you
report.
asking that the park stay open 24/7?
I'm saying that leave what's working alone. Don't change something that's not broken. People use these, when we were left the other night, there were kids playing basketball over here. There's
Lit.
lights, apparently,
Yeah.
there's lights. Nobody ran them out. He was here, we were standing in the parking lot, he didn't run them out.
Okay, well, I am gonna bring up that we have had homeless try to stay in the parks at night. That has been an issue over the past few years.
Yeah.
So if we don't close the park in the middle of the night, they could say, hey, there's no rules here. There's nothing that says I can't stay
Better
here.
for us if it says they're closed at dusk and then they can't come in at all.
Yeah, but trust,
Then we're letting somebody.
Rather than let them sleep on the bench until 11 and then call him to chase them.
Either way, my opinion, we're beating a dead horse. What do you want?
What is to gain? What is to
I
gain?
don't know if you have anything to offer, Matt, because we talked about this a
The
lot.
only thing I'd add
I
is
know.
the existing rules do defer to whatever the signs say, so whatever the signs say will be the hours, so if you change them or not, it's going to be what the sign says in the old rule. I can't remember, was there anything else on those signs we were going to change anyway, so the cost might not be the same issue? I don't think so, but I haven't seen them.
We weren't gonna change.
I mean, it's sort of always been my hope that we can have signs that are more informative for people, because one of the things that we have heard a lot in the park plan is that people they have no idea they don't even know who owns the parks, they don't know who to contact if there's a problem in the parks. So, in general, I feel like we could have more useful signage for people, which would be a separate project.
But can you please figure out, count how many signs? Because at the costs I just gave you, you can see this number's gonna get large really quick, really fast. Because there are a lot of signs, a lot of park signs. Everything that's hanging on the buildings would have to be changed. Everything that's stuck in the ground would have to change.
But you know what? I think that we don't necessarily have to have all these signs changed all at once. We can phase that in.
But do we need to change this?
That's my point.
Do we need to change the signs?
Well, they need
Only
to have
if
more
you change the
information.
hours.
Is what we're hoping.
Well, let's see a mock-up of what you have in mind, and let's find out how many signs would end up being changed and what that would cost. And then we can make better decisions, not just a flip of the hat. Let's just find out.
I don't perceive this as being something that should hold up the other 99% of what it is we're attempting to do.
On the
Because-
rules, no.
Yeah.
It won't hold up the rules. That part will be held up, because we really need to know what the cost to make this change is and what is the advantage of doing so, because I can find no record of any incidents in the park reported. So that means we're doing it for nothing. If you can enjoy using that park, I have gone over there in the dark, I walked through it at 5:30, nobody's ever run me out, it's never been a problem.
Right.
And we do have an out, it does say unless otherwise posted.
There you
So
go.
if you approve them tonight as is, the current signs would still be valid, and if you wanted
Right.
to change them in the future, so be it. I don't know if the concern is the cost or having a dawn to dusk standard.
It's
or-
both.
okay.
I'm not a fan of 5 o'clock in the morning to
Okay.
11 at night, okay? But I could even get over that
Mhm.
if the cost to make that change and the residents who live near that park don't object. That's
Okay,
a real
okay.
big thing to me.
Well,
Yeah, and saying the park is open doesn't mean that the other rules that we have in place, doesn't mean we're gonna allow any and all activities. We're not gonna have like a party at 5 AM. There are other rules in place to help protect against that. There are nuisance laws, there are,
right,
you know,
right.
so.
The problem is, and I agree with you, there are all those laws. The problem is getting somebody from Williamson County to come out to this park when there's a problem, or getting them to go to Hatch Pond when there's a problem. They will not act because they do not enforce our park rules. So that means somebody in this district, they'll say, call the mud board, call the mud board. We don't have the authority to arrest somebody for trespassing. We can't do that.
I totally get that, but I'm gonna repeat myself. If the only objection that you have to this version of the park rules is the concept of from 5 AM to 11 PM, I don't wanna hold up the other pieces that are really the substantial changes that we want, that we're looking to adopt. Because we can still come back and address the
hours,
Yeah,
because.
Yes,
Not you
agreed.
just said it, so,
agreed.
so let's vote on it.
Okay.
Well, we're not done.
Okay, so what are your other questions?
Why is the parking lot out here off limits to residents overnight?
I think the concern was sleeping in the cars, is that one of the
Yes.
main ones? Or
That is
others?
what has
One
happened.
of the history is that when we were enforcing overnight parking, especially in Lakeline Oaks, that people started parking in our parking lot. And so, we have meetings here, we have activities here, we don't want people parking overnight there for any reason. So that's why it's out in there.
Well, I don't have an issue with it so much, but then Mackenzie, whoever's left the Infomark truck out here needs to move that thing, because they shouldn't be allowed
No
to
one's
park.
been staying here or in it.
It doesn't matter if residents
Right.
cannot park in there, Infomark cannot leave their truck there either. Okay, let's see. Yeah, and I'm just not real comfortable with violating the rules equals trespassing. That's a real stretch there.
Okay, what's the background there, Matt?
I mean, it's a standard we kind of stole from some other rules. It's kind of, I think we talked about some of that conduct where you would need law enforcement too. You'd want some sort of trigger to get to that point. So, yeah, you're right, Linda. A lot of the things they just won't come out for. But if there's I think a homeless camping situation, we'd want to at least have that be the standard, that they're trespassing by doing that. So,
Do you think it's too harsh?
I just think some of, like, I brought a glass container into the park. You'll be charged with trespassing. Well, nobody would come for that anyways.
Correct.
But
Yeah.
you understand what I'm saying? It seemed a little harsh. And so what I wrote here is the committee should consider when they call the Travis or Williamson County Sheriff to a park or pond to enforce trespassing, will the sheriff deputy act for a glass container, for not
No.
picking up after your dog, hitting
No.
a golf ball? If the sheriff won't respond to a call for violating these rules, then don't threaten trespassing.
Well,
It's a suggestion, you do what you want. I don't hit golf balls in the park, it's not gonna be an issue.
I don't think that's
Yeah.
something that we were even thinking about. It's more
But
of,
you can't paint it with that broad brush, because sheriffs aren't gonna come out here and enforce that.
well, but for some of these some of these are safety issues, and so we need to have
Put those-
some kind of enforcement mechanism, otherwise if they're not enforceable at all ever,
So separate them.
then there's no, then.
I don't have a problem with that because, I mean, it is far-reaching, but so what? Nobody will do it and then, you know.
Yeah.
Well, again, it's not a showstopper for me, it's
Okay.
just,
Give me your next one, Linda.
how do you intend to enforce penalties, especially for people who do not live in the district? More importantly, for the people who do, are you going to put it on their water bill?
So you can talk on the water bill part. It is going to be difficult to enforce against people not in the district for any of those penalties. If you can find them, I guess you can try, but really, the best methods we have are the deposits and things like that. So-
And that's only against residents.
Exactly.
Well, so
Well,
you can
anybody-
please appreciate my concern that a lot of the park activities that the committee is looking at for the future is going to involve a lot of outside residents. It would be completely unjust that only the people who live here would be the ones to feel that wrath, and the people who are just visiting get to do all that same stuff and go home without a $200 penalty.
So
Well,
Linda,
then we
let
have
let me address part of your question. There is no plan to put these penalties on water bills.
I'm happy to hear that.
So, in the event of a penalty being assessed, which I have to say, 21 years, I don't think any have been,
Yeah.
it's more of a deterrent than anything. We have the ability to do that. So, in an egregious violation, we assess the penalty, whoever it is, resident, non-resident. If they don't pay it, we would sue them in court to collect it.
But I think, but, correct me if I'm wrong, the whole objective is for, most of this stuff is, it's a reservation, there's a deposit in play, and our stick is, we're not gonna give you your deposit back.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, for anyone who has a reservation, definitely.
And-
The issue is if you have rules and you have zero mechanisms for enforcement,
What's the point of
what's
rules?
the point of rules?
Well, sometimes you should only make rules when you have a problem that you're trying to solve.
And a lot of the things that are on here
Avoid problems.
have been problems
Yeah,
that we
and
have seen.
I guess that's where because I'm not aware of them, so, and you know what, when I marked mine, I used, oh, good, this one has it. I used these numbers on the side of your sentences.
So what's your next question?
Hold on, I gotta see what 43 was. Most of them she answered in her supplements today. Public display or consumption of alcohol, it's number 43 on your list of things. I made a note, isn't alcohol permitted in this building
But there's
Only
rules,
yeah.
there's rules
when
about it,
renting
though.
for parties?
With rules.
Yeah, so you might want to look at 43, because I think it says,
Don't you have to have a police present? You have all.
Something like that, yeah.
That was the,
I think it says it in there, doesn't it?
How
did we put that in that?
that was number 43 on this draft. So,
That's only
It says
inside,
in all-
you can't have it outside.
in all
the
outdoor
park.
areas.
well, you can have it outside, right?
Uh-huh.
It says it's public display of alcohol in all outdoor areas. So
And then-
that excludes the.
Has to be inside,
It says it's only permitted under the park pavilions when reserved
That's
for
outdoors.
private functions.
Right, if it's outdoors, right.
And that would be
So- for private.
subject to the security and that's another thing that we might need to talk about, because how many people actually took advantage of that? Zero?
Yeah, but how many people have actually had their parties with alcohol and just didn't?
Probably a lot more.
Yeah.
So that's, again,
It's a different problem.
Again, you can't enforce these things unless you're gonna come here and check every time somebody rents. It's not enforceable, so,
But most rational people would abide by the rules.
Yes,
I mean,
yes,
we had a
yes.
party
That's what
here
we're
and
trying to do.
and there was
had
no alcohol.
No, we had alcohol and I hired a police officer.
Right.
He
Or
ate all
we-
night and, had a good time.
And he drank and he was
No, he
useless.
didn't drink, but he did eat.
Or we had situations where somebody wanted to rent the pavilion, and they wanted to have alcohol, but they didn't want to follow the rules about, what they had to do in order to have alcohol. And I
Hire
think,
the security people.
and I think it was, they also were having, lots of minors. That was, and that.
Is that in the rules? No minors around alcohol?
I don't think
you
so.
can
I don't
put
remember
that.
seeing that.
no, you can't have it unless you have the private event, and then that would
Yeah,
obviously
yeah.
be beyond
Part
our,
of the reason that we put that in years ago was to avoid minors getting access to
Yeah,
alcohol.
police officers not gonna let a minor drink.
Right, right, if you have one.
So, I think that, you know, we write these rules with the expectation that they're gonna have the deterrent for bad behavior that we're hoping that they're gonna have.
Well, you know, I've lived here 32 years, and up until the last year or two, I never looked at park rules. So, you know, you can have the rules, but if nobody's reading them,
But you know what, I think most people are gonna say, or understand that the whole concept of open containers in public parks is something you're not supposed to be doing.
yeah, I don't think you're supposed to do it in public at all, but.
Yeah, so.
Okay, so we'll move on because
Yeah.
I'm just, you asked for my comments, these are my comments, do with them as you please. 49 is fire rings and fire pits are not allowed in the deed in every section but Anderson Mill West 1. And there's no evidence to suggest it has ever been made an exception to deed enforcement. Why does the committee believe that allowing fires in parks is more safe than allowing it in one's yard? What about during burn bans? Who's going to watch? Where will the closest water source be?
These are just for fire pits.
It says fire pits and fire
It
rings.
says that they're prohibited unless it is in something that is approved by the district.
Yeah.
We already have barbecue grills,
Yes,
The ponds do, yeah.
yes, in the parks.
and this isn't saying we have to have any fire rings, it's just saying if it is something that has been approved by the district.
Well, why don't, instead of saying fire, why don't you just put barbecue pits? Because that's how it's written in the deed, those are allowed. That and fireplaces are the things that are allowed.
But then everybody understands that.
No, that's not true, you just open up
I
a big door.
understand.
Well, you're smarter than the average Joe.
That's not true. That's my wife.
yeah, and
I'm
just to
just
clarify,
telling you,
yeah.
you've opened up a door for
I guess
a
we're
fire
getting
ring.
caught up in semantics. I
No,
think-
I'm not, because a fire ring is something that I actually saw in one of your park plan pictures. And for the Sun Chase, and I'm guessing it's gonna be in Sun Chase, the adult park, where they can put in a big fire ring over there and they have some adult swings. That was something Jana was
I
talking
know,
about.
but
So-
I thought that we decided we weren't having any fires in
Well,
parks.
it would have to be approved by the district.
Yeah.
So the way the rule's written is you can only have these things if the district
So
specifically.
the district is
approves.
not setting up fire rings and
Correct.
fire pits.
It's saying you can't do any of these things
Yeah.
except for devices explicitly
So
approved
you can't
by
bring
the
your,
district.
what is it, chimera or whatever the.
No, it's just the grills that are already in place.
Yeah.
It says, except designed for that purpose, including barbecue grills, fire rings, or other devices explicitly approved by the district. Well, we don't have any fire rings in the district, so
That's
why
right.
is that worded, why is that in there? We don't have any.
Can we
mean,
take
why
that
did
one
you
out?
add
Can we
that?
take firing
I
out?
can take the word
Yeah, we can
out.
take
Yes,
that
let's
out,
just
I
take
mean.
that word out.
Yes.
Or, so we're basically saying you can't do that unless, you know, it's one of these categories.
Full coverage, that's the way I see it.
Because we don't want to have any firing.
Right.
Take that out.
So that's just a semantics problem then.
Yeah.
61 and 65, I wanted to know if we allow someone to rent the park, the pavilion, and they decide to bring a bouncy house into the park, who's liable for any child that gets hurt in that bouncy house?
It's so funny, you bring up everything that we spent hours on.
Well, good, you
but-
see, that's
yeah.
exactly why we have public meetings, so the rest of us are informed.
Okay, Matt, you want to answer that one?
Yeah, I mean, it was a big problem. I think there was some, I don't know if you guys have come to agreement on if it's good or bad yet, but it was, the way we have the rule now requires the district to see an application for something like that. We are, in theory, somewhat liable if something went wrong, so I think the standard would be for that, you'd have to get an application, they'd have to be bonded, insured, a reputable company, and the district at a board meeting would have to specifically approve a bouncy house at a park.
Or like animals in a petting zoo, or anything that is out of the ordinary in a
That's,
park.
that's there too, 23
that's all.
petting zoos.
Okay, well, see, what I'm seeing in here is with park committee approval, and I don't want any committees making those kind of approvals, because all of us are liable then.
Right.
Okay.
So,
Okay,
That is exactly,
board approval on anything out of the ordinary,
Okay,
I'm
so-
so okay with.
So what I'm hearing as it relates to bouncy houses is the expectation is that you're hiring a third party. You don't own a bouncy house.
Right.
It's someone who knows what they're doing and has the
Yeah.
insurance.
Okay.
So they bring a
And they have
bouncy
to
house and
show
set
us
it up in
that.
the park, but yes. So, oh, you're talking about the owner of the bouncy house has got the liability?
Well, we make sure they're insured and, you know, that
Waiver,
they
right?
know what they're
They're bonded,
doing,
yeah.
and so we have some protection if something did go wrong,
Okay.
so.
so
Yeah,
it is a
make-
big
can't
one,
we make
being a
them sign a
childcare
waiver?
director for so many years, that was a big one for me. I was like, you guys, this is a big liability,
We
so
don't
yes,
want
that's why we asked
someone's
them to bring.
cousin
Depends
showing
if they fly
up
away.
with
With
a
the-
inflatable.
Well, that's
flying
exactly
away.
what,
Okay, so
yes.
if they bring something like that, right, they have to have a waiver from the company, a waiver with us, right? That
Correct.
if somebody gets hurt, we're not liable.
Correct.
And their adults have to be present, right?
That's exactly what we went through, 'cause
Okay.
that was my big hang up.
Okay,
No
is I don't
problem.
wanna
so
be
we are all
responsible.
good about that then?
But, okay, so here's the reason why we said Parks Committee instead of the board. So we had a situation, because the way it's written in the current rules, you can have bounce houses with approval, but it has to be by the full board. And somebody had reserved one of the spaces, this was just happened a few months ago, for their kid's party, and they asked if they could have the bounce house, and it was like, the timing was like right after the board meeting, and there wasn't gonna be another board meeting until after the party. So they basically lost their opportunity just because there wasn't a board meeting for another month.
Right.
So it was like, well, if we have a document that basically is set up to ensure that the bounce house is coming from someone who's insured, and we
Right.
have all these waivers and whatever in place,
I'd be
then
okay
do we
with it then.
need full board approval?
You wouldn't if everything else was in order.
Okay, okay, so let me,
That can stay then, is that?
Yeah, I'd be okay with it
Okay.
as long as everything else is in order, and the first time that fails, it's over.
well, okay, so let me share
That's
with
two of us, Linda,
something
so sit down.
that happened. So, I happen to know somebody who had a side gig where he rented out, he owned the great big industrial commercial bouncy houses, and he gave it to me for the weekend, and we had it at an Andersonville West Neighborhood Association event, this was a number of years ago. And so my question is, how does that work in this scenario? Because somebody just, volunteered to.
Well, you wouldn't have the insurance, if you owned the house, the bouncy house now,
Yeah,
you wouldn't have the liability insurance and everything that
Right.
you would need, because you don't have that business, do you?
well, no, but in Abstin, this was just somebody, it'd be like somebody, he loaned me his boat, think about that,
Yeah.
That's, somebody just loaned me his car to use for the weekend.
Yeah.
And so, but what you're saying is, what we're really saying is, no privately owned bouncy houses, they have to be a commercial enterprise.
Right.
Okay,
Basically.
I'm okay with that, I just wanted clarification.
So we don't get the one out of your garage?
No, we don't get the one out of my garage, no.
Okay. What else?
So that was 61 and 65, and 65 applies the same. If all the safeguards are in order, I don't care if you make the decision.
It will be.
But I don't want to
Okay,
be
so what
liable
are
for
the
somebody's
safeguards?
head falling off the side of a bouncy
I
house.
said the exact same thing, so.
So all the safeguards,
Yeah, they're gonna write up the rules
Waivers.
or the
Right.
form that
Yeah.
goes
Yeah.
with this.
So that park use application that's
It's
referenced.
too much of
Now-
a liability.
It's
what
a
about
huge one.
schedule?
I know.
You know, you mentioned earlier that those will allow them to reserve and place a, what do you call it, bouncing house? On the park. That waiver will cover us, correct?
It'll give
Without
them,
us
it'll give
giving them
them some
approval.
stick to try to get protection. It's all it's gonna do. Doesn't guarantee anything.
So, because I remember one time, I think it was when I rented here, they said, well, you have to have your application in before the board meets so they can approve because you're gonna have alcohol or something, I recall something like that.
Okay, okay.
So it was a time issue, so you had to,
Yeah.
just like you make a reservation on a flight or something like that,
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
you could put that in place.
Well, that's not gonna be an issue, because they're gonna take care of it in the form, and then it's
Well, that's what I'm
okay.
saying, that's the
Yeah.
alternative,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
The general rules and regulation for tennis and pickleball, 72. All users, I kind of got stuck there because I know I have a friend who plays with somebody who lives in the neighborhood.
Uh-huh,
He's not going to have a card.
Right. Wait, okay, 72, hold on, let me.
On the pickleball.
Must hold active membership.
So,
you can't have guests, is that what you're saying? Well,
It's just kind of written weird where,
yeah, so there's somewhere down there where you can have a certain number of guests.
yeah, I did see that too. It just
Yep.
kind of contradicts A. I wrote,
because the objective is not to say that you can't bring
a
guests.
guest, right.
Yeah,
But this one kind of requires everybody be, well, A kind of alludes to everybody has to have a membership, and then further down, everybody has to have a key card to get in there. Well, guests don't have key cards. And I don't know, is Infomart, are you gonna go out there and check people's cards? That's not gonna be your role, right?
No.
Okay, so it
So-
really isn't.
Well, how would a guest get in without a key card?
They go in with somebody else.
yeah.
But isn't that okay?
That's okay, you can have a
Up
guest.
to, yeah, like 3 people or something. So what we could add, all users, blah, 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 and then add like a parenthetical that says, you know, other than guests who are with a card holder per section, per paragraph, whatever it is.
Yeah, that's the
Are you
simple
good with that,
fix.
Matt?
Yeah.
Oh, and I don't want you to change it, but I wanna know how you intend to enforce it. 78. I mean, sharing of key cards is,
Oh, yeah.
again, I'm not asking you to change it, I just
Yeah.
have a real hard time when I read stuff like this, and I know you can't enforce it, it's almost like an invitation, so.
So how does the renewal of the membership work? So if somebody theoretically had a card, they had a membership for a year or whatever, and they gave it to their friend, would the card, like what would happen at the end of that membership? What happens at the end of the
The
membership?
cards are deactivated if they don't renew. If
Okay,
they do renew, the key card's reactivated and
so I guess,
It's a manual process, but we go through and we deactivate and reactivate when we get the new membership information.
okay, so the friend could technically, I guess, use the rest of the,
But it's still paid at that point.
Yeah.
it's still paid, but then once the year ended, they
It
would lose their.
expires.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that was the whole issue with, before we had the electronic gates, was people just hung on to the magnetic keys.
They don't expire? They don't
No,
turn off?
no, no,
They do.
no,
They do.
this was before we had the key cards.
Oh.
Before, it was literally a manual magnetic key
Okay.
that was, it was just manual, so the people wouldn't return the key, they didn't, and they just kept going to playing tennis for as long as they wanted. Or they would pass the key on to somebody else who was playing tennis. Yeah, keep going.
Is it really necessary that users have to show their key cards to district staff? 83?
What was your intent?
How was that written? I think it's just, if,
That would be if the constable's questioning them, because that's the only district staff you have.
yeah,
That's the only district staff. So if they were trying to validate if somebody should or shouldn't be there, if somebody was upset and called in a distress call and they had to come out, that's the only way they're gonna be able
That's
to
what I
say,
think, it's an
you're allowed
exception,
to be
right?
here or you're not.
because we have had, I mean, there are conflicts.
We have
with-
conflicts on the tennis court regularly.
Yeah.
That's been going on for a long time.
I'm so glad I don't have to deal with that.
I don't typically either, if we're leave, that's probably why she's leaving.
Look at her.
Keep going.
Okay, and the others, I'm scrolling because most of them have already been answered. Why would food trucks not have to pay money to, or pay a fee to make money in our district? Why would they be allowed to pull up on a curb and sell something and not have to pay a fee for doing so?
Well, they do it already all the time. They nail us out at school pickup over at Cypress. They're pulled out right in front of the
For their
park.
eyes, yeah.
The Kona
I don't
ice-
think-
Oh, the ice cream man?
The Kona ice truck. Yeah,
The ice cream man?
the
Oh,
Kona
yeah.
ice, yeah.
He goes to the middle school, he goes to the elementary.
That's not a food truck. I'm talking about the kind that sell hamburgers and, food trucks.
I mean, it's,
I'm thinking of big park events and a line of food trucks up and down.
because if they're parked on the street, we can't stop
Yeah,
them parked
we
on the
can't do
street.
anything.
We can't do
They're in a
anything.
public access.
Well, actually, there is something because there are regulations for food trucks and counties get involved to make sure they have fire extinguishers, if they have generators on them. There's a whole bunch of regulations for a food
I'm sure
truck.
they're regular.
They can't just really come in, park, and start going. It's really not quite that simple.
They're licensed, aren't they, they're
Yeah.
regular.
I don't know anything about it.
Yeah,
I
if they're
just
on
know,
the street, didn't we
So
talk
the-
about that?
read me
If they're
the
on
question
street, I don't
again.
think we
What-
can do
what is
anything.
why would food trucks be allowed to come in here and make money without having to pay a fee?
Come in here where though? They're gonna be parked on the street, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So we lease the pavilion to
Yeah.
residents, and we allow food trucks to come in here and
Yep.
make money.
Yeah,
Well, they're not coming in here, they're parking on the street.
No, I mean, they're coming into the mud.
Yeah.
They're coming into the district. Well, I don't care if you don't care.
Well, I just don't see it as an issue. I mean, it's,
Well, as long as they meet all the requirements that a food truck has to have
Exactly.
before they can pull in on the
I
side of
don't
the
think they
street.
can sell food. It's like a food handler's kind of thing and.
Well, there's something with the fire department and food trucks that has to be,
Right, they gotta meet all
Focus
kinds of specifications.
um,
Now, if he does it regularly where he's using the park as his, you know.
well, the ice cream man is here all the time. I don't care
Everybody
about.
loves ice cream. We all scream.
Hey, look, when I review, everything that triggers, I will write down, so.
Okay.
That was good, but.
I'm just saying, it's, he's regulated enough. I don't think we have to charge him a fee.
On 256, I made a note, if alcohol is in this public space, requires a constable supervision, why does that not apply to alcohol in public parks and ponds?
I don't think they're supposed to be, isn't that the whole
Yeah.
point, isn't that the way it's
Yeah.
supposed?
That's prohibited.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think you have to go back to the rule, make sure it's
Prohibited in all outdoors.
Rule 12, 43 on the edits, public display or consumption in all outdoor areas of parks is not allowed, and then it's only permitted under the pavilions and reserved for private functions, so I think those two together kind of work that. Thinking out loud though, that rate, though, I don't know if that 45 an hour, we ever got a answer on that, I don't. Do you know what the constable rate would be for that if they even offer it? 45 still? Okay, so that's something that's. Nobody's doing.
He hasn't heard of cost of living increase hasn't hit them yet. And why did you choose the words non-commercial reservation versus personal reservation?
I think that was to bring in the nonprofits, maybe like the
That's what it's
Girl
about.
Scouts
Making
or
sure
the
we were
Boy
covering
Scouts. I
nonprofits,
think,
yes.
not 100%, but I think that's the reason that was chosen.
That
Because we
was,
do,
wasn't
well,
it?
no, we
Yeah.
haven't,
Yeah.
Is that a legal term
That's fine.
that they use?
well, if you go to the next page, we have a nonprofit rate, and so I think that's where the thinking was on there.
Right.
So non-commercial is a nonprofit.
Residents, non-residents, individuals, and then nonprofits would be under that.
So that falls all under the umbrella of non-commercial?
Yeah, and then commercial would
That
be
makes sense.
money-making groups traditionally.
And you have,
So on 294, the table. So I made a note, reservation rates, all of these rental scenarios bring non-residents into an event or a non-resident group, and I wrote religious groups or the scouts bring in residents as well. How about the nonprofit Girl Scout who lives outside the district and brings her troop in from the district, from outside, is it still $5?
Yeah,
So, see, this definitely I have a problem with. if people outside the district get to rent for $5, but residents who bought and paid to have it built and maintained have to pay more, I have a problem with that.
Okay. And that's a policy decision. I mean, it's legally, you could choose the number you want, but, I mean, that's obviously.
I mean, if you,
Well, how do you enforce and to figure out whether or not, you've got people in, you know, in the Girl Scout troop who live in the area?
well, and I'd hate to have to do that. I don't want to do that. But my point is this, and they should all be welcome, and I think that they are. But if I want to rent that pavilion, and I don't have the rates memorized, it'll cost me $40. But and I live here, and I've been here long enough where I've paid for it at least 10 times.
Okay.
Why would the Girl Scout troop get to come in here and rent it for $5? That just doesn't seem right to me. Because somebody made that decision?
Okay, so what's the fee for a resident?
The fee for a resident, for the building.
Well, actually, it's $40. Well, I was looking at the pavilion, and it really doesn't matter what. It applies across the board. But in the pavilion, it's $40 for a resident, $150 for a non-resident, and $5 for a nonprofit. So, any nonprofit comes in here, uses the facilities that I bought and paid for, and I'm gonna pay to clean up later, but I gotta pay $40? There's something wrong with that.
Well, they still have to pay the same deposit, and the only other thing I would say is it's kind of a carryover from the last rules. We
Right.
did have that lower nonprofit rate, so.
And nonprofits don't have a lot of money, and I respect that too, so I don't wanna see them, being depleted, but I also don't wanna make an avenue here
Right.
for every nonprofit. Well, this would make a great church on Sunday, I think I'll hold my services here, because, I don't
Well,
have
what
to
about
pay.
prioritizing, right? It does prioritize, right? Like nonprofits are only take what's not available.
First come, first serve, isn't it?
No, I thought if it was a nonprofit, if somebody had it reserved,
Well, if it's reserved, but, yeah, no, it's first come, first serve, am I
Didn't
right?
we have a rule one time where?
There were, you're thinking about something with Toastmasters, right? Because we had,
Well, he was like, maybe on a Friday if it wasn't booked.
That
yeah,
wasn't booked?
because we had,
And
right.
if somebody booked it, they couldn't have it on that day, remember we told them that? We told
You know,
them, yeah, you can do it, but if
I
somebody books
totally
it.
understand what you're saying, Linda,
Mhm.
and I think I feel comfortable saying that the observation that we had was that the Boy Scouts and the Girl Scouts, that those nonprofit activities that were taking place were involving, troops and et cetera, that were very close in. And you know what, I think that if we wanted to, and I would be very comfortable stating, because let's be realistic, these Boy Scouts and the Girl Scouts, they really sort of, they congregate around the schools. And we could say that that we could limit, some of these nonprofits to the actual Boy Scout and Girl Scout troops that are very much very close to our district.
Associated with Cypress and Almond.
Yes,
And
or where we know and we'd have to be a little more because.
Well, even if you do that though, and I don't know, it's been a long time since I was a Girl Scout, but my understanding is that I could be a troop leader in this neighborhood, but I could have residents coming in from Shenandoah and from Bella Vista and Twin Creeks and what have you. So again,
but
that's
then
people outside of the district using the facility.
But that's the same with our classes, like the tumbling
Yes.
classes. It's the same
But those instructors are commercial users that pay a hefty fee to use the facility, so,
Yeah,
you
but
know.
this is a nonprofit.
I don't,
They're not a commercial.
I don't know how to solve the problem, I'm just telling you. As a resident who's built every facility in this neighborhood, I don't wanna pay more than someone who doesn't live here.
personally,
I don't have a problem with that.
if a Girl
If it's a
Scout troop-
nonprofit.
Yes, it's a nonprofit. I'm
Yeah.
perfectly happy to let a Girl Scout, it doesn't offend me one bit.
So we're gonna
that
tell the
I-
nuns of St. Mary's they can't have
Yeah.
they gotta pay $40?
Say what?
The nuns of St. Mary that wanna have some
Yeah,
kind
the PTA for Cypress, uses the pavilion in Snow West for events. That's a nonprofit. So,
If you're a nonprofit, you're doing something for the community.
yeah.
You're helping.
Not
the Boy Scouts.
necessarily, the PTA doesn't do anything for the community.
Oh,
They
wait a
do
minute.
stuff for
They
the
do.
school.
And those are our children. Those are my children. They're part of the community.
They are doing something.
How can you say that doesn't do
So, I
anything?
mean, that's
It
a
doesn't do anything
distinguishable.
for me.
That's
Trust me,
distinguishable.
you're
But it did at one time when your kids were younger.
I mean,
I'm just,
if they abuse it, then we have to change the rules.
I guess it would be,
How often does a nonprofit really take over, I mean, really?
I don't know, we can't tell from the
I know,
calendar.
but
We
it's
can't tell from the
incidental.
calendar.
I know, but it's incidental.
How do you know that? If you don't know who's leasing, how do you know that?
Okay, well,
You
we
don't
can
know.
tell by Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, you know, church groups. Now, you're right. If somebody's saying, hey, we're gonna use a pavilion, have church every week, no, that's not gonna happen. You know,
Actually, there is
That's not a
somebody
case-
who,
It's a case-by-case basis, you know, but
There used to be
they're
a
a
church that
nonprofit.
it used to be
here.
a church.
In here,
Yeah.
yeah.
Anyways, again,
Well,
that's
do
not,
they pay
these are
rent?
not showstoppers. I
Okay.
don't rent the facilities hardly ever anyways, so I'm just saying,
Yeah.
I speak for residents that voted me in this seat. And I'm having to believe that they're going to feel a lot like I am about it. And so I want to be able to have a plausible explanation that says, well, you know, we only have, you know, Megan's Girl Scout troop, and don't you have a, or you used to have a
Yeah, I'm an Eagle Scout,
something?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
well, it's just people who live in the district, but it's, you know,
Okay, keep going.
I'm done with them.
Oh, okay,
Park rules.
okay.
So again, the holdup on the park hours is, I wanna know how many signs, I want to calculate the cost to make that change, because I don't see an advantage to doing
I
it.
agree. I think that's something we have to really,
So we can,
what's the cost benefit?
There has to be a benefit to it.
Yeah.
we can leave the language for the park hours like it is in the current rules.
And the current rules say what?
Dawn to dusk, unless there's an exception.
So the park and pond hours are set by the board of directors. Signage posted at the park and pond locations will state the opening and closing hours if such are established.
But right now, that means that the park has to close at 5.
And that only is a problem if somebody is reporting to the sheriff that someone's in the park at 5:05, and then we'll have a problem. But until that happens, we really don't have a problem.
How does that will ever happen?
See what?
Not here.
Not here,
Central Park maybe, but, you know.
not here.
Okay, so what are you handing out?
If you guys do decide to vote on these, this would just be the order that would go along with it.
Oh, okay.
Basically just reciting
Okay.
who's amended. I don't know if you guys are going that direction or not, but that's the orders.
Thank you.
Thanks, Matt.
So
And
you'll
this
get,
is just something that we're putting on the website.
That's the order approving the rules. And yes, it will go on the website with the rules.
So if you look at the existing rules, there's a similar order on the front page of that,
We did
so.
it, we did it for all the rules.
So whether you approve these tonight or another night, this would probably be the same cover page.
well, as long as the hours are not fixed 5 to 11, I have no personal issue going forward with the rest of the rules.
Good.
Yeah, we haven't voted on movies in the park yet, that hasn't been presented to the board.
Right, well,
No, I'm
But
just saying,
if-
but if somebody wants to do that,
Yeah.
then they're not gonna be able to do that if we do the dawn.
yeah. if
No,
there's
they
any-
can't do that now, but that's part of the park planning process. It was in there as an item to vote on. Until all that's done, we don't need to make that change, because right now, that's not an approved activity in the park.
Well, so if a group wanted to do light up the park again, that was inherently after dark.
Never been an
It's
issue.
always been after dark.
It's a special event, It is a district-sponsored special event.
Yes.
So I don't think that's an issue.
So, okay, so will we just ignore the rules?
Yes, like we've done for the last 32 years. If a group wants to do the Light Up the Park event, they would, I guess, talk to the Parks Committee about it, and then you would tell us about it, and then we would decide if that was a good idea. Or
Okay.
you decide it's a good idea and we'll have to live with it. As long as there's no liability, no issue.
So what we're gonna do is, the only thing that we're gonna change is the hours. But we're gonna get all the other pieces that we need to, and then we're gonna come back and you're gonna find out how many signs there are, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, so the changes that I noted to this draft are with the hours of operation keeping the same language as the current rules.
Okay?
On line 50, crossing out the word fire range. On line 72, that paragraph adding a parenthetical where it makes sense that, specifies except for guests of members per whatever paragraph that is below that says how many guests you can have. And then, I think that's it. That's it.
There would have been so many more had you not sent those two attachments to it.
Oh, yeah, that attachment was really helpful.
It whacked a whole bunch of them.
Yeah. Okay, so somebody make a motion then.
Well, do you want a resolution before she has all the forms filled out and all the details that support these rules?
If you're comfortable with everyone on the board that those are the changes that are made, we can get the final rules approved and we can finalize them as is. If you're not, we can edit them and bring them back.
I'm okay with the rules, but like for the bouncing house thing, you don't have that form ready and the liability and all that stuff. So if you publish the new rules and the form's not in place?
Yeah, we need.
Sure.
Or maybe we could do the resolution and then don't publish the new rules until your forms are in
Until the
order.
forms are.
Is that okay?
I'm good
Yeah,
with
we
that.
can do that.
Okay.
There'll be two forms of publication. One is a newspaper notice that we have to summarize the rules. And then the second would be putting on the website. So the board can go ahead and, approve the order tonight with the changes that Megan has listed. And then the committee can, in our office, just won't publish notice yet. So they're not effective till you publish notice anyway. And then let the board know what the forms look like and from that.
And the forms we're talking about are the forms to do a reservation.
With one of those unique things, like a bouncing house
Yeah,
or a
yeah,
petting zoo.
yeah.
or-
Yeah, it's the park use, what we're calling the park use application. Yeah, and then, kind of the you're making sure that the checklist for getting the deposit back, and
Okay.
just making sure that all the various forms that we have now align with the new rules.
Okay,
and have
okay.
these
It was
extra-
pointless to do them before you
Yeah,
guys
I
approved
agree,
it. So.
I agree. And I don't have any objections to going forward with this as long as nothing's published until all that other.
Yeah,
paperwork's
because
found out.
everything needs to be all together.
Right,
Okay.
yes.
Okay, so go ahead, make your motion.
Okay, do I need to list out the changes again, or?
No, just
No.
make a motion to approve the order attaching the rules as presented with the changes that you have indicated, because you just listed them.
Okay,
Or you can just adopt the motion I just said.
Yeah.
so motion.
She's got it. All right, I'll second that.
Okay,
How's that?
so what do you think the timeline is in then getting your forms done? And maybe that might be more of a Matt question or a Mackenzie question.
We have existing ones, but I don't
I think they're close enough.
Can we
so
mimic somebody else's, benchmark somebody else's?
Well, that's what I was
Hey, go to Fern Bluff, or go into the shared folder, look at the Fern Bluff, because they got everything. And I bet you find their park rules and all their forms and everything else out there.
There's nothing.
I'm gonna show it to you on my
You think
screen.
you're looking at your own drive.
No,
It's, we
it's-
both looked
look,
and there's nothing
look,
there.
it's got the watermark for the mud, so it's not my drive.
All right, well, that's a good idea.
Okay.
Look at
Take
Fern
the vote.
Bluff.
I'm gonna show
Okay,
it to you.
all those in favor say aye.
Yeah, aye.
Okay, so, make it quick. Update on the park planning process.
Oh, is that on there?
Yes, it is. If you don't have anything to share, say I don't have anything new to share.
We, the quick update is we got approval, I think it was last month, to do those extra neighborhood meetings. The tentative date for those is December 1st and 2nd, but that's as far, we have them sort of on the calendar, that's as far as we've gotten so far. So,
Okay,
We've not set the date.
okay.
You are gonna meet with those property owners that live directly around parks, right?
Around 4 of the parks.
Tell me the ones.
Hatch, Old Mill, Astor Pass, and then a combined Volente Hills, Cashawwood Pond, since they're like so close together.
I just wanted to make sure you got Old Mill, because,
You're talking about
the pocket park,
the
where the
pavilion is.
the gazebo,
Yeah, the gazebo, that's what I meant, yeah, okay.
What?
gazebo, where the gazebo is.
Okay, so, agenda item 8. I'm still working, and that's the rate order, I'm still working on the rate order. I'm looking at coming up with, 2 different rate models.
For the water hogs?
Well, I tell you, okay, so right now what I'm doing
You
is
should
I'm
put a
trying-
water hog rate.
The water hog rate? What I'm trying to do is to theoretically calculate water revenue based on actual usage, and then, tie that back to how much we actually need, to how much revenue we have to generate. So hopefully by next month I'll have something, I will have shared something. Okay. Agenda item 9, report from the district attorney regarding status of current legal projects.
I prepared a list, updated list like I've been doing. Please keep it that's confidential because I edited
I believe that's
the
right.
list.
Okay.
I'd like to say the list is getting smaller, but it's not really getting smaller yet. And again, they're not necessarily in order of how we're going to do them, but kind of what we perceive as the most important. And it's still at the
Hey,
top.
we're knocking some of these off. Yeah, we're gonna get the park rules done tonight. Yeah.
If the board has questions, I can answer in open session. I'll be happy to. If there's, again, I say this every time, if there's something that you think is something I'm working on, it's not on the list, let me know, and if it is, we'll add it to the list. One thing on here that Herb talked about when we get down to the license agreement, Herb indicated that perhaps the permit would be sufficient. That's not what we were told before, but that's what he's being told. So there's a chance that license agreement portion would come off.
Thank you, Bill.
Oh, and Bill, you don't need to look up that Senate bill for me. Don't waste any time researching to see if it applies here. If we're going to go ahead and, well, since we've agreed to hire the,
I already responded to you.
I know, you said you didn't have time to look at it. Oh, you said it might apply in small pieces.
I responded and said it looks like it applies.
It looks like
Yeah,
it.
I'm not doing anything else. On
Okay.
Okay. Okay, minutes from past meetings. Okay.
Linda corrected most of them if you need to.
I only did, no, I know, she had a bunch of them in there. I only did the 2 I promised that I would get done. And I did correct those, and then I corrected the statement.
we can
you
approve
have her
those.
Correct. Yeah, you can approve those.
Okay, so which ones?
January 18th.
Right, these are the DRC ones. Yeah.
All of you.
That one's
did, I look at that, she didn't give me a copy of my own email.
Maybe I took yours, I don't
It's all
know.
right. Yeah.
State that we did receive, I think, from Linda, we got some comments on the minutes this afternoon. They were too late to us to look at. Did we get comments from anybody else or not? So those have not been incorporated, and we didn't approve them or anything. That's for board discussion.
So
Did you have a copy of them?
what dates were those?
You have a copy of Linda's? email?
I gave it to her.
Oh, you gave it to them? Okay. So they've been passed out to you, so you can look at them.
What dates were those? That you got comments that were too late, that's all.
It's the email from Linda that you got.
Email from Linda. Oh, okay.
Gave you a copy of the email we got today, so. I think she references which dates she was commenting on.
Yeah, and what, I didn't go back and watch the movies, I just looked at my notes. I did go back and check the change you made for Gerald Burgess's comment, and I've asked Allison to correct it to what was actually said.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but it lacks context.
Yeah, and you can't add words to his public comment and try to pin it on somebody, because if you go back and listen to it, he said directors, and he implied everybody, so everybody gets it.
Honey, I didn't hear that.
Go back and look back at the meeting, the time on the video for you to listen to. Allison can hold the change until you've had an opportunity to listen to it.
Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to go ahead and, we're gonna vote on what DRCs for January and February? Is that what we're gonna do? Okay. Okay, somebody wanna make a motion?
No, why don't you?
I make a motion that we approve the minutes for January 18th, 2021 and February 15th, 2021 with noted changes.
I second.
Okay. Do we have any more discussion? Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Agenda item 11, future board meetings. So we've already talked actually about, the DRC and the,
13th and 15th.
right. What I wanted to do though, when we were talking about it, were we gonna, was it gonna be at the Wednesday meeting, next month that we were going to, everybody have their, iPads and we were gonna have training, or we were gonna do that at the DRC? Which one were we gonna do that at?
Whatever you would like to do that, I mean.
Well, which ones makes more sense? You wanna start, you know?
If you started at DRC, because I don't attend that, I won't be able to answer.
Oh, okay, well then, okay, that answers the
So,
question.
if, obviously we'll do training beforehand, but if you started at DRC and I'm not here,
No, I really do want us to have like
Yeah.
15 minutes where we all get on the
that's
same
fine.
page.
I'll get something scheduled for everybody near the next meeting. That way it's pretty fresh on everyone's mind, and then we can do it for the rest
So
of
that
the
would be
meeting.
the 15th.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, that's all, so.
So you have to bring your iPad.
You have to bring your iPad,
We'll,
yeah, that's
we'll
what.
do a
I gotta wipe the
pre-call.
dust off of it.
Not
We'll
the
do
best.
like a call beforehand though, Art, to go over how to use it.
I'm sorry, what?
We're gonna do a call beforehand, but going over how to use it with just like paired off.
Okay. So are we starting it early or like?
No, we'll do that before the meeting.
Oh, okay.
Like not that day, but days before.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Okay, yeah. So that was the only thing that I wanted to make sure took place, that we had some sort of training. Because
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't care what you say, it is not, an iPad is not at all intuitive.
It is, iPads are the best.
I have one, so I.
Laptops
If you
are
don't
a
have one,
struggle.
I understand that it's not quite.
I get very frustrated, it's like, I can't find anything.
I just got an email from somebody who's moving into your neighborhood, and she wants to know if she can bring her 4 hens, but she doesn't have roosters.
No.
I'm gonna send her the copy of the deed, yeah.
That's livestock.
I'm just, I don't know where she found me, I'm just coming from Dripping Springs, so
No,
Okay.
there's no livestock in,
Wanaka, she's gonna live on
It's their pets.
Wanaka?
Livestock, they're pets.
An emotional support.
at least they used to name
Yes.
hers, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
what you been thinking?
Yeah. They,
Okay.
they're called
Agenda
dinner,
item 12.
they're called dinner and lunch.
Yeah.
Agenda item 12, adjourn, somebody make a motion.
Oh, do what?
So the meeting will be
Adjourn.
December
Oh,
15th.
I moved that we adjourn this meeting.
He just did.
I second it, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
So no meeting next week, correct?
Thank heavens.
Yeah. Wait a minute,
Thank
that's
you.
that would be the day before Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
Oh, I've already spent it.
So Lee, you're gonna work here, but you're gonna support a different,
Yes, that's good.
is it a new position? Congratulations.
I have to sign something? Yeah. Okay. Focus,
I do not know how to send an attachment from an email